One of the toughest things any man has ever done is turn down a nice piece of willing, steaming ass piece of pussy. Oh wow. And listen, man, that Gregory Hines was something, man. I used to really love that dude, man. Yeah, he will be missed. That tap dancing fool. Anyway, hey, listen, hello everyone. Welcome to another one of our shows on Black Man Unfiltered Network. And today we're going to be talking about some things, and I'm gonna try to. Here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna try to eliminate the F word tonight. I may fall short, but I'm gonna try. Everybody got to try to improve a little bit. But today, what we're talking about is a meaning behind another, I guess, colloquialism, whatever the hell that word is, that we hear on these YouTube spaces. Um, Post nut clarity, right? It's one of those kind of tropes that we hear on YouTube, and but we never ask what it means on the outside world, right? So to men, this is not just another saying. It's real, right? It's true. It's real. We know what it means to us, and women understand what we say what it means to us. But today we're going to talk a little bit about what it means for women and why women are so afraid of this particular moment. It's like a rite of passage. It's like a passage from just getting acquainted with a guy to whether you want to just have a one night stand, situational ship, or a relationship, or even a marriage. No matter what it is, you got to pass through that particular gate of the man having some clarity as to whether he wants to see you or not. And at some point, you have to give up the box for that, right? And but here's one of the things I think women have a problem with is that they don't understand that if you want the guy to keep coming around, you have to become more than just a box. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things I talk in the backstage with Black Man Unfiltered is hopefully we can get all of the videos and stuff I had set up. We may not be able to do that tonight. All right. So I see a question in here. What's the hell is post nut clarity? Hopefully you were listening and you understand. So you can get it a little bit more if you stick around. And that's key. We need you to stick around so you can understand what post-nut clarity means to a man. If you're a man and you were sexually active, you should know what it means. It's how you feel right after the deed is done. That's what post-nut clarity is. Your head gets a little clarification as to whether you want to be with this woman or you just wanted to get your rocks off and split, right? And every man kind of has that kind of awakening after the deed is done, right? And there's a chemical reason for that. And and I had a video on that, and I don't know if we get it played because StreamYard has been having problems because it would be much better for that to come out of the mouth of a person who it actually was a woman, by the way, and that's what I was looking for to explain these things to you. She doesn't use post-nut clarity, but she uses the chemical term of what's going on between a man and a woman during the sexual act. Okay, and I could. I'm going to have to fill in for the sister, right? Well, she's not a sister; she's a white girl. And if we get this thing working, when people might want to come up on the panel, uh, and when people want to come up on the panel, and we could chop it up, and even if we don't get it working, I'm going to give it a shot for where she's coming from, and I think I could do a pretty decent job. And I want you guys to listen to this because it has some real world meaning because a lot of things are connected with this thing, especially the fact that it's a guaranteed right between of passage between a man and a woman into a relationship, whatever that relationship might be afterwards. And the reason why I'm saying this is, and women, you could attest to this, uh, and men, you've heard this more than once from a woman, right? There's women out there. Let me just cue the scenario for you. I'm gonna just cue the scenario. You got a regular single woman. She's sexually active. I'm not calling her a 304 or any of that stuff. She's just sexually active. If she needs to have her needs met, she'll have some men, one or two or three in her orbit that she can go get those cheeks busted, right? So a lot of women are like that. They may have had a one night stand, they may have had two, but they don't specialize in that. They have to have something for the relationship, something about the guy other than just his aesthetics to really get down. But maybe one night out, she slipped up and let a guy get the cheeks. Okay, so that has happened. So you've heard women before. And if you haven't, maybe you don't talk to enough women who said they found a guy who they like. This guy is a guy they like, and they would wish to have a relationship with him. And the guy actually is interested in her, but she is hesitant to give him the box, right? Let me kind of paint up a square. Sometimes you need visuals, right? You can move that little banner down, right? Sometimes the women are hesitant to give up the box, okay? And because they kind of understand that if they give up the box too early, that the guy might not like them, right? Uh, so the black man, can you move this banner out for a second in front of me if you don't mind? Uh, I think they got the message by now. We could move the banner. Anyway, so a woman who says, listen, I like this guy, but if I give him the box too early, maybe, I haven't had that much luck with giving up the box and guys coming back. They get it and they split, right? And women don't understand why they do that. So this is going to be a conversation on why men might do that. And one of the things and why you making him wait is not necessarily the best road possible. This is the a la 90-day rule. Some women think the 90-day rule could be any arbitrary number of days that is necessary so you can get that guy to like you. And so when you get through that passage of when y'all have sex together, that he might be more willing to stay with you. And I could tell you it is not necessarily the amount of time you make him wait, because there's a bunch of people who've had one night stands and the guy still comes back. I mean, I wouldn't recommend that, but there are cases of that, and it's not like it's not statistically significant amount of cases. So it does happen. All right, it does happen. Um, but for the most part, women think the longer they make a guy wait and he comes back, he's spending his resources, he's spending his time, He's whispering sweet nothings in your ear and all this kind of stuff. And he's showing that he's worthy of the box. Okay, that you might go ahead and give in because now you feel a little bit more assured that he'll want to see you again in the next day, right? Or after the deed is done. Well, that's not necessarily a good method or even and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why that's not a good method. Um, it is a method, but it's not a good one. It's not the best one that you can have. Uh, because if you make a guy that you like and he has all the goodness that you want, he's aesthetically pleasing, he's got some bank, he could take care of himself, he doesn't need to borrow your car and all this other horse shit, right? Why this is not really a good method? Because it doesn't guarantee you that after the deed is done, he's going to like you any more than the guy who got it on the first night. And I'll tell you why. Because the most important thing is what you do for him before the deed is done and what you're willing to do for him after the deed is done. The little things that a lot of modern women don't talk about, because a lot of times they talk about what they want from men. And even on these panels, you very seldom hear what women want to give for the man they want. And that's where the key is. That is exactly where the key is. And I think that's where a lot of women miss. It's not the time frame. A BMU, black man, BMU or CBN. Can you get this banner from in front of me for a second, if you don't mind? Anyway, so wish I could do it myself. Uh, but anyway, so it's one of these things that you got to think about. Let me get back on track here. One of the things you got to think about is what are you willing to do for the guy while you're making him wait, right? If it ever crosses your mind, if he has to be to a certain level for you to feel comfortable to giving him sex, then you need to be doing something for him to make it worthwhile. And here's why. Because the guy that you like is not Boo Boo the fool. He's not a fool. He's know that if you're a single woman and you've been sexually active, that you gave up that box to one or more men for nothing, just because you wanted to have sex that night. The guy didn't have to work for it. All he had to do was look handsome. He didn't have to buy you a plate of food. He didn't have to buy you a drink. He didn't need to do anything. He just needed to look like somebody you wanted to bang it out with that night. Now, nobody's saying you did that with every guy. But the price you're making this guy you like, right? Pay for the box in thoughts that it's just a time period that makes the difference between whether you should get it or not to make sure he'll like you. It's not the full answer. It's not the full answer. So if we still look at this scenario, this is the kind of thing you need to do because chemically speaking, when a man has sex with a woman, his testosterone is sky high. That's one of the things. His hormone, his testosterone is sky high. And then after the deed is done, his testosterone is depleted. And then that gives him a little bit of clarity when he sees you after. Does he still want to hang out with you, or does is he calling an Uber so you can get the hell out of his house? Right? It's kind of up to you to make that difference, right? Because for a man, his hormone during after the testosterone is that a woman needs to build up what they call vasopressin in a man. And the vasopressin in a man takes more time. It's not the box that matters. It's what you're willing to do for him. It's the way you make him feel about coming back. It's the way you make him feel that you are more than just a box, right? Yeah, that's right, women. You gotta show a man why you're more than just a box. If he's gotta show you something, you gotta show him something. Because of course, I'm not supposed to know anything because I'm a dinosaur and all this kind of shit. But the truth of the matter is that a lot of men don't see women as more than just boxes because you'll put so much premium on it, even though the value ain't as high as you'll think it is. That's why. So if you want the guy you want to stick around, what are you showing him? What proof are you giving him for him to say, hey, you're something other than just another box? What are you doing to show that? And that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you got some women in the audience that want to pop up here and give me the contrarian position, like an Anissa or somebody like uh, anybody else who just wants to chop it up a little bit, because the guys, we could talk about this, and your men out, of course, you're all welcome to always come up. And if we still, I'm looking at the private chat, no, we still can't get those videos, which would be good. So I don't know, S. Ryan, if you're still out there, I answered some of your questions, because I'm surprised that you're a man. I'm surprised you might not know what post nut clarity is, but I hope I answered that for you. And so ladies, so this is the key. Now, if we continue with the scenario, let's just say that night you're with the guy you want, right? And you'll actually do the deed, right? And you had a good time, and he's not trying to kick you out of the house. You're still snuggling a little bit. He likes you, and you like him, and now you finally pass through. And I'm gonna come back to this. And you finally pass through that gate to where y'all actually had sex. And maybe you might be kind of concerned that whether this guy still likes you for and did all it because of all the things he did to you prior to the act. So how do you kind of stick around long enough for his vasopressin to take in, where he says, well, you know what, maybe she's it. Maybe she's the one I want. You know what I'm saying? So this is what you do. This is what these are all examples. All examples. You guys are in the bed. It's kind of, early evening, you did the deed, you had a good time, you had a good time. And you look at the dude and say, hey, listen, I know I'm over your crib, man. You got any food to eat in the house? He said, yeah, I got this and that. And then he said, let me go make you a sandwich. Let me go make you some. I'll whip you something up if you're a little hungry. Right? You get up and you put whatever clothes you have on, probably keep your bra and panties on so you still kind of look inviting and shit. You go into the goddamn kitchen and you make some food. So while you're taking a break, you feed the dude a little bit of food, and you know, for whatever that's worth. Don't have to be a big meal or anything like that. It's just like you're willing to get up and do something. So after all of this submission during the sexual act that you gave him, you're willing to get up and make him a sandwich. Make daddy a sandwich without him asking. That's one thing you could do, because you can say, wow. I mean, men have mental banks too. You put that in a mental bank. She's willing to at least do that. Cool. Right? So you come back to bed, you'll eat, you'll whatever you eat at. And you go back in the bed, you're going for round two and all that kind of stuff. And he's still not kicking you out, because now it's a little late. He says, I'm not going to send you home this time. I know I can get you an Uber, but you might as well spend the night. And you're willing to do that. And so you say to him, hey, Joe, you got any clean sheets? Yeah, I got them over here. You got a wash and dryer or something here? Let's take these sheets off, pillowcases and sheets, since they're all soiled. I don't want to just lay on them. And you put them in the washer and shit, and you wash. You wash them. He didn't ask you to do that, but he understands that you just don't want to lay up on a sheets that are all soiled up. So do it, right? Don't have to all be the same night, but you did it, right? So now you wash a few clothes without him asking. He's okay. He puts that in the mental bank. All right. So, you coming over his house for another go round. You like each other. You do some going out here and you do this. Now you're around again. And so, you have to use his bathroom. And his bathroom is clean-ish. It's clean-ish. Maybe not up to your standards. So you say, hey, Joe, listen, if you don't mind, I'd like to do a couple of things in the bathroom, just to get it up to, you don't have to say all this, but you just think it, right? And you clean up, you know what, maybe you need a new toilet seat and shit, and a couple other things that, make you feel more comfortable if you're over there. All right. So now what have you done? Right? You're not saying you're gonna cook clean and wash all the time, but you just showed the guy you're willing to do something other than the rest of the boxes who come over his house. This is some simple shit, right? Because if he's any kind of guy, right, that you think he is, the next time you come over his bathroom will probably be more than just cleanish, just for your ass. His sheets will probably be clean and new because he knows that's what you want. That's what you like. He might even say, "Hey, babe, you don't have to worry about it. I ordered DoorDash." But you still separated yourself from all the selfish hyenas that are out there who only want provision and shit from a guy and never show him what they're willing to do. That's what helps you get over a man's post nut clarity. You got to give him something worth coming back to. And, there is something to be said about being a lioness as opposed to being a hyena. And Crimson Cure can give you all the definitions of that if you want, but she's right. So you want to distinguish if you want to be treated different than the rest of the women out there, you got to do something different. You got to see, listen, every woman who are the few women who are in this panel, and if you don't see it now, you can see it on replay. Every single relationship goes through the passage of a man having post nut clarity. Every single one of them. There's not a relationship that went past just a one night stand, situational ship, or the casual relationship, up to and including marriage. The man at some point had to have the clarity that this is the woman that he wants or doesn't want. It happens to all of us, and it happens in all the relationships out there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you don't have to agree, and that's why we have just, we're going to have a conversation about it. This is my take on it. And if I had the other evidence, 'cause it's not just my word, right? It would be nice. But maybe, for this one, I'm just stringing it along myself. So you guys tell me what you think a little bit, right? I think we could both agree that, and this is me, and this is one of the advantages I have over typical men today. Since I've been married such a long time, and you know what, I need to stop talking. Well, I'm not going to stop talking about it. I was on a panel and I got booted off the panel because a woman said, "I don't want to hear about your 100-year-old marriage." And I thought it was kind of funny that I got booted because she said, "You know what, I'm tired of hearing that shit." And not that I even lead with that, but I get where she's coming from. But the truth of the matter is, there's a couple of things I get out of that. And I've said this to a couple of my people I debate with. One of the things over those 30 years plus years is that I've had the ability and the honor, I guess, and the ability is a better word, to look at women more than just how valuable they are because I'm trying to stroke them, right? The woman by definition, besides my wife, had to definitely become something other than the box. So I had more chance to talk to women to see how they move, how they operate. I have female bosses, female subordinates, female peers. Going to lunch with a lot of women. I have some women in my peer group, and I talk. So since I'm not trying to stroke them, I have to look at them differently. I have to look at them, not worrying about whether I can get in their pants or not. So we can have different kind of discussions. And even before I met my wife, even the girlfriends that I dealt with, I've always treated them, since I had to cultivate relationships, that they were always more than a box. Women have always been more than a box to me, right? So, and here's what I'm going to say. It's going to sound kind of crazy. I think I know more about women's nature than the average bear. I really do. I don't care what nobody thinks. I just think I do, and I live my life by that. That's why, I say if I was ever back out there, I wouldn't be having as much trouble as some of these guys that I hear. I say, come on, man. Why are you having so much trouble? Because a woman is still a woman, is a woman, even though she's crazy by social media and all that other horse shit. It depends on what you're looking for, you know? So anyway, That's my take on it. So if you guys, I guess you had the link drop. Anybody want to come up because I don't have all the tools I wanted tonight, so I might as well get some men up here, some women, any woman who might want to come up uh, and chop it up from her perspective would be welcome. But a couple of guys in the chat, if y'all want to come on up, let's talk. Let's talk. I'm willing to do that right now. Okay. So, hey, I see you, King Smith. I see you, King Smith. Hey, man, thanks for coming over here, man. The actual Kings. There you go. I saw some of your comments. Hey, listen, man, you see the link, man. Pop on up, King Smith. That'll be cool. I see Trey, you in there, man. You come on up and give me your unique perspective of what's happening. I'm surprised I haven't seen Trey Ferg in the chat. Ryan, how about you? You said you had a question. Maybe you have some thoughts. I see Armin Holly. You never come up if you want to. Let me know what you think. I'd appreciate that. You know, um, Anybody. Hello. I know y'all can hear me. You know, so I wish I had all my tools. I had this conversation I wanted to show you between a man and a woman as well. That would have been cool. Anyway, so and you take us on the link. All right. If not, so this will I'll keep going. So if you see the scenario that I posted for the ladies, uh, I think it makes a difference that a man knows that you'll distinguish yourself from other women by actually giving him a reason to stay and come back. I think that's very important. Hey BMU, what's going on, man? I mean, are you coming up or you let me know something or you got something to say on the topic? It'd be good either way.
Yeah, I got something to say. I mean, for some people, I saw somebody in the chat say that they didn't know what post-nut clarity is.
Yeah, I saw that.
Good God Almighty. But if anybody, we had some issues getting people to come up. I mean, bringing people up on the panel. But now I just want to let everybody know if you want to come in, now that's fixed. So if you want to come in, hit the link and come on up, and we'll pull you guys on up.
Oh, so the StreamYard was keeping people from coming up too, huh?
Yeah. Every time we hit it, it starts spinning real bad. So
wow.
But yeah, we good now. It's working now. So anybody that want to come up can come up now.
So how about those videos?
I wanted your opinion on people that don't even know what that is.
No, yeah, I kind of answered that. I told the guy, to listen. I even sent him a message. Listen up, and maybe my explanation will answer that for him. So hopefully it did, because I mean I went through it enough. So I don't know what more we can do for him. He can get some more answers through context. So but if you got that first video, that'll help some folks up. But if they want to come up first, that'll be great. You see, it looks like we still maybe having a few issues. Hey, look, actual King Smith, if you wanted to come up, man, that'd be great too, man. Trey Ferg, so some issues are still there, huh? Yeah, Trey Ferg said he can't see the link, so I'm gonna have to drop it one more time. Then if we get that link in there, maybe we could take this banner down.
All right, go over to the top of the chat, guys. It's pinned to the top of the chat. Trey said he can't see the link. It's pinned to the top of the chat. So go to the top of the chat and look in front of you right now on the screen under Mr. Payne, and you'll see the link under Mr. Payne as well. If you want to type it into your PC, but if you go to the top of the chat, the link is at the top of the chat.
There you go, Trey. I see you. All right. So while we're waiting, Trey, what you got on the top?
I'm a little surprised by the guy who said he didn't know what it was either. I put my definition of what I thought it was. I tried to give him a scenario. He didn't respond, so I don't know if he got it. But Yeah,
Even
I mean, this is the thing. This is one of the things I would have this conversation with another content creator on another platform about, her thing was telling women to preserve themselves, and I was arguing, well, you're setting her up for failure because if that man does not like her after they do the deed and he's married to her, you just started an entire marriage off on the wrong foot, and now he's regretting his decisions, and now he's resenting her because he waited. And now you got to put now you just added more stress into that marriage because now they got to work on their sexual compatibility on top of everything. So you just really just set them back. I think it's one of those things where my thought process has always been the same. Let's do it, get it out the way. Let's see if there's any compatibility there. Let's see how I'm going to feel after I get that release. If I can stand you, because I'm telling you, I've literally rolled over and looked at a woman and like, how soon can I get her the hell up out of here? You know what I mean? Like, how quickly can I get her up out of here? Because I'm obviously I'm gonna call it PNC. There's kids around, but that PNC kick in. So it's a real thing, and I think that women need to understand that a man is not really truly seeing you with clear vision. It's sort of foggy and hazy, and what he's only really seeing is your attributes, your booty and your boobs and your pretty hair and your lips and all that. He's not really seeing you for who you could truly be until he gets that release, and then it's a determination. Because here's the thing: the real truth of the matter is that he got what he came for. Let's just keep it 100. Let's just keep it a whole 100, right? He got what he came for, and most women like to hold this as leverage, right? This is a leverage game. And so if she gives it up too fast, she no longer holds the leverage. And if he doesn't like her, he has all the cards now because he got what he came for. So she really is defenseless at this point. She's got nothing, right? She has nothing to keep this man other than the hope that the work that she put in prior to the two of them doing the deed is enough. And in most cases, if we look at it, especially within the Black community, it's not enough. Men are not sticking around with these women. They're getting what they came for, and then they rolling out. So while the marriage rate is at 25% for women, right? Because they're getting it, they're not sticking around. So I think women have to understand this is a real thing. This is a real thing for men, and you have to understand it. And you have to realize that your ability to get the man is easy, but your ability to retain him is difficult.
Absolutely. And so that's what I was trying to say, that this one is really for me trying to tell women, if you want to get the cheat code for how to stay around, because a lot of them want to do the bare minimum, and I'm not making it up, because they come on these airwaves and they say that, and they wonder why guys disappear and ghost them. And the thing about the 90-day rule, let's just use that for example. The reason why that's a big, huge mistake is not only because the time you waste to think that that's going to get a man to stay, it's because he could end up actually resenting you and just stay because he knows that you've been busting it out for a guy here or there for nothing, right? Because you're a modern woman, he's sexually active. He knows at some point you gave somebody some ass without him going through all of this shit you want to put me through. And so then, even if he doesn't show it, he could secretly say, okay, I'm gonna stick around just so I can get that one nut and get my, because all the time I put in. And then the whole 90 days goes for naught because you didn't do anything else other than make him wait. And he does it, and he says, all of a sudden those phone calls stop. He doesn't seem as excited to hear from you or see you. And women have said that too. I made a guy wait, it still didn't work. Well, because you didn't put no work in. You just think that, you have the upper hand, you're going to make them wait and do all these things for you. And you don't have to do anything. It's the women who understand the difference. And that's what this session is really for. Hey, you want a guy to stick around, you got to do more. You got to do more, not more than you got to just be willing to do more. If you really like the guy, then what the hell is wrong with you doing a few things for him even before he committed to you?
Well, here's the thing. The truth is that whether you give it up on the first night or whether you wait 90 days, if it didn't work, it was never going to work anyway. Let's be very clear about that. Like the time period, there's nothing that a woman's going to do between the first night and the 90th day that's going to make him say, I gotta stay with her even after. Like there's nothing that you can do. You can make as many sandwiches as you want. You can wash
Well,
as many loads of laundry as you want. There's nothing.
well,
At the end of the day, what's gonna happen is she's gonna be judged off of, like, to me, that's the final gusto. That's the dessert, right? If you go out to dinner, you know, this is how I would look at it. When you meet each other, those are the hors d'oeuvres and the appetizers, right? When you start to actually go out on these dates, that's the actual the entree. That's the meal. The sex is the dessert, right? And what's the last thing? What's the last feeling you have on a meal? It's typically the dessert. I know
dessert.
people that have had terrible meals, appetizers, but if the dessert was good, they'll say the meal was good, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so Trey, just
Hang
good.
on. So
Good.
what I'm saying all that to say is the difference between the first night and the 90th day means absolutely nothing in the sense of there's nothing you can do. You are might as well say, hey, okay, I'll give it a two date hard limit or three, because that's mine. 2 dates. If I don't get about 2 dates, there will be no third date, right? But 2 date, 3 date hard limit, right? Because at that point you're just wasting time. And as you said, there is resentment. These guys are not calling you back. It's not because he don't want to be with you. A lot of the times it's because he's like, you made me wait for that. That's what you made me wait for.
Yeah, I hear you. The only thing I would have was to push back to you. As I do think the little things that a woman is willing to do for a guy to show him that she's not like the rest of the hyenas, it does matter. I think it does. I really, maybe not to the
Like what?
extent.
What could she do?
Well, I said it. You just poo poo.
Making sandwiches and washing
No, it's
clothes.
not making the sandwiches. It's the willingness to do more. Whatever the example is, these are just examples. So forget about the sandwich. It's the willingness to do more for the guy to show him that he can actually be her number one choice. Because I say to guys, before you open that gate to marriage, you got to be pretty sure that the woman looks at you as her number one choice, or else that's also a recipe for disaster. So, what does a woman have to do, or need to do, or begin to do to show you she's just not another hyena looking for your provisions? That's what I'm saying. So the sandwich is
She
just an
needs to
example.
invest. See, here's the
Okay,
thing.
so what's that investment then? That's what I'm saying. Let's
It
give
could
some
be one or two
examples.
things. She can invest her money or she can invest her body, but she needs to invest something.
Okay,
She
give me
needs
some
she
other than okay. The money is I can dig that, but what? Forget about the body. I mean,
no
it
no no
has.
no no no. We can't forget about the body.
When I
The
say
sex
forget
is an
about the body,
investment.
no, okay. I mean, her giving you some
Unless she's
bond.
promiscuous and she's a 304, then she doesn't
Well,
count. Now we're talking about a woman who's actually of some sort of quality, then her sex would be an investment. She got to come up off of
because
something.
she has some
There's
kind of
no free
value
lunch.
on it. She has
Maybe
some
that's the
value on it.
difference. Maybe back in the day, y'all were giving women free lunch, but we're not giving women free lunches right now. She's got to invest something.
No, I hear you. So I think we're talking about the same thing. So you're just using the term investment. I'm using the term she needs to show you more. My example might be not up to your par, but I'm not gonna, some guys might not need to see her invest money, but her body, if she's a virtuous kind of woman, yeah, and have value on her body, but you know what? We know that the modern woman, no matter who she is, if she's in the West, what kind of value does she really put on her body? You talk about virtue to a lot of these modern women, they look at you like you're crazy, right? Because a lot of them don't even understand what the hell that shit means.
That's because it's an outdated term.
So what is the term then?
like these girls have lost their value, their virtue, excuse me, they lost their virtue at 12,
I'm
13
not
years
talking
old.
about virginity. I'm not talking about virginity.
What are you telling me that one doesn't one hand doesn't wash the other? You
I'm
telling
not
me
talking.
one doesn't have to do with the other?
Well, Trey,
You
here's
tell
no, no.
you telling me a woman who's
Okay,
younger than
let me
21
answer.
who's
Let
got
me
10
answer.
bodies is
No, no,
virtuous?
no. Let me answer. You're putting up and say you asked the question. Let me answer it. I'm with you, but I don't equate virtue and virginity as the same thing. There's women who are still could be virtuous somewhat and have one or two bodies or whatever, or had a relationship before. I believe that, and the reason why I say that is most men in the West also believe that. That's why some of us still used to get married. Even back in my day, it wasn't a prerequisite for the
Most
woman to
men in
be
the
a.
West are suckers.
No, well, hold on, Trey. I'm not disagreeing with anything, but most men in the West, even back in the dinosaur days, didn't require virgins. We didn't require virgins. How many men do we know besides Town Daniels screaming it from the rooftop? That
This
his wife
isn't
is a
about
virgin?
requiring virgins. I'm not saying that. I'm not
No,
saying that
so
we're
then
requiring virgins.
you don't
I'm
disagree with
making
me.
no. I'm making the point that women don't understand virtue because it's an outdated term.
It's
Because
not
they
an
are
outdated term.
because they yes it is. You do
No,
not
it's
hear
not.
young. Okay, show me the 21-year-old that's on social media talking about
Doesn't
virtue.
mean well, listen to me. That doesn't mean it's an outdated term. It means nobody passed it down to them.
Which
And
would make
because
it out. Oh my God,
there's a
bruh,
broken
bruh. Which
you
would
know,
make it outdated.
no, it doesn't make it
Nobody,
outdated.
meaning nobody uses it anymore.
Well, listen, then what's the corollary to that?
There is
Right?
no, there is. Listen, that's the point I'm trying to make. So this is where my frustration comes in with older folk. When you try to explain what the current climate is to them, they try to tell you what it is. I'm telling you that these
I'm
women don't
not telling you
understand
what it is.
virtue. They don't understand virtue. You hit the nail on the head when you said because it's not being passed down to them. So if it's not
Okay.
being passed down to them, they don't understand what virtue is, which is why they never talk about it.
So
Which is why they believe in sexual liberation. Which is why they're having sex so young.
Yes,
You
okay.
cannot
So
have a virtuous woman who is out here being promiscuous and's got 10, 15, 20 bodies before she
I'm
turns
not
21. That's
of
ridiculous.
course she can't be virtuous. She's lost that. But I'm saying to you, Trey, then what's the answer? What's one of the answers? If it's not virtue, then what's the term?
I'm telling you, there is no term. You're trying to put a stamp on a letter with no address.
Okay, so then what's the yardstick for you to determine whether a woman is worth it or not?
I watch her actions. I watch how she moves. And I look at, and I said to you before, I'm looking to see what is she willing to invest. I'm asking questions about what she's willing to sacrifice. I'm looking at her mentality matters, what she's thinking, how she was raised. Was she raised by one parent or two? Has a father in her life? Does she have a male authority? I ask a lot more questions than just sex. But in this particular case, today, if you want to talk about a woman and her being virtuous, you can hang it up. It's done.
Okay, but Trey, your checklist though gives you a certain feeling about that woman, right? That's what the purpose of it is, right? So you're saying it doesn't matter whether she has 3 or 4 bodies as long as she can meet your trust, or 10 bodies if she can meet your checklist on what she wants to invest today for you.
The truth of the matter is I'm never going to know anyway.
No, but answer this part of the question. So forget about the bodies and the sex. As long as she's willing to invest to your standards, then you're saying some of that shit doesn't matter.
Some of what doesn't matter. Everything that I just listed matters.
No. Well, you said you're never going to know how many bodies she has.
Right, which is why I pay attention to her actions and how she moves.
So, well, wait a minute now. A woman with bodies can meet those actions you're talking about.
Right, which is why I say that they're not virtuous. I don't even put it on them.
Forget about
they
the
can't
word
do
it. Forget about. Listen, sometimes you gotta let go. I'm letting go of the word virtue. I'm going.
Okay, what is it that exactly that you're trying to ask me? Because I'm confused. Are you trying to ask me how do I determine what her body count is?
No, come on, Trey. You're smarter than that. I'm asking you. You got a checklist of shit you just said, right? So again, it could be women who've been around the block who could meet that checklist. If that doesn't matter, then I think we're on the same page.
How so? How can a woman who moves promiscuously?
You said her virtueness doesn't matter because it's outdated, but it still means. What does that really mean in the real world? That it doesn't matter how many bodies she has?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you are never going.
So, but the list you gave, and of course, it's not an exhaustive list. So let's get that out of the way. I know you have more. I'm just trying to say. Forget about the word virtue. Allow me to forget about the goddamn word virtue when I'm talking to you. Okay, let's say I'm wrong, and I can agree to that. You have a criteria, and a woman who meets your criteria, basically, she's willing to invest. She's now where she's at in life. She's willing to invest to a guy like Trey and what he needs. So that means that some of the shit that she might have done before she's willing to invest doesn't matter to you.
I don't understand. What are you saying?
If you just told me a few things that she's willing to invest money, she's willing to invest her body, she's willing to invest a few other things, then what she might have done in the past don't matter then, if it's not on your list.
Yeah, but you're missing the point. The whole purpose of the checklist is to be able to determine what her past was like based on her actions.
Okay, wait a minute. So So you're never gonna be able to get a number. So
That's the point of the checklist and to
that's
watch her
what I'm
actions.
saying. That checklist is not gonna give you the number. So the checklist is only gonna
I'm
be
not
able
looking
to.
for a number.
All right then. So okay then. That's what
Well,
I'm
that's
saying.
what I asked you earlier. You just took me all the way around the block to answer the question I already asked you. Are you asking me how do I determine her body count? Is that what
No,
you're asking me?
no, I'm not. I'm saying that you're saying it doesn't matter.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not
Of
saying that it
course it
doesn't
does.
matter. I'm
Okay.
saying that I'm never going to know the truth anyway because women have a tendency to lie about these things, a high propensity to lie about these things. So what I've come up with is a exhaustive checklist and a system to make sure that I vet her properly over a certain amount of time to where she's going to have to reveal who she really is at some point in time. I'm not saying that it doesn't matter. I'm saying that I found a workaround.
That makes you comfortable. That makes you
Isn't that what we all are doing as men?
And I agree with that. So, and all of us, I agree with you. So we're really not arguing. I'm just saying, as exhaustive as your checklist is, still not going to get you exactly what you might want. But let's before we go any further, because you might be in violent disagreement with me, but I ain't in with you. Hey, Trey Ferg, go ahead. What you got?
What's up, fellas? I mean,
Hey, what's
just this
going on,
last,
Trey
how you
Ferg?
doing?
All right, man.
Just this last little 5 or 10 minutes, just I don't know. It seemed like I was on point with it. Then it
No,
just
man, go back to the beginning. What
used
do
to
you think
rap.
about PNC, and what do you think about whether what it means to? I know you know what it means to you, but what do you think it means to a woman, or what she should know about it? And
I
then you can
mean,
talk about the last 5 minutes. Maybe.
just even in when you meet someone, I believe for most men, I could be wrong, when they see a woman that they're attracted to, they want to try to be as physical with her as soon as possible. I don't think we are into no time frame of when it needs to happen. I've seen
Of course,
successful relationships 2 or 3 days into meeting, 90 days, whatever. But I think if the woman is feeling the same way about you as you are about her, then she's not going to put a time limit on it. She's going to give you all the cake you want. But then after that, I used to tell my sisters this: if you meet a guy and you want to get with him, whatever, however physical, don't call him the next day. See how he wants to be with you. And this is younger. Now, me, I'm like, okay, once we cross that bridge, then I'm going to see, I'll agree with Trey, I'm going to see how she moves towards my plan, how she's showing up for me. I need her to, call me throughout the day, send me a hey big head text just because she was thinking about me doing a break, whatever. But I'm looking at those behaviors. And 3 of my biggest points I always told a female, even my wife, you have to be able to talk to me, you have to be able to feed me, you have to be able to freak me. Put it in any order you want. There's no particular order. Whichever one you want to do on that day, do it. But I need to have those conversations, and I need for you to, hey, what you doing? I'm coming over, whatever. Yeah, come on, make time. I'm not going to chase you. I'm going to treat it like a business deal the first couple of weeks. If I call you and you don't reach out to me within 48 hours, I would probably either delete your number or just block you or just ghost you. That was it. You have to show up for me. I'm going to be there. If I'm interested, I'm going to give you who I am. But if you don't show up when I say, hey, what's up, then I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I'm not going to be 3 or 4 weeks in talking about, well, you know. I'm not going to do that. And it's ironic that when I met my wife, I watched how she moved. I watched how she would introduce me to certain people. Who are the important people in her life? Am I getting to meet those people? If not, then I didn't really take it serious. And I would just, when I was finished, then it was time for me to move on. So, it's just, and today, now that was some years ago. Today, I don't know. I probably have to get rid of Trey. There probably is no clarity. These women out here slanging and banging all over the place. And guys are just taking advantage of opportunities when they're presented with. I don't think they're coming in with a plan either. So it's just scary right now.
Yeah, it is scary. So essentially, though, you do agree that women get it wrong in terms of understanding that a man has to go through that so-called portal to decide whether he wants to come back or not. And I guess we already touched upon that there's some things that they need to do, whatever you call it, how extensive that might be, in order for a guy to actually want to choose you over somebody else. I think the key is for a lot of the modern women and even the older women, but just to say modern times, is that they don't know anymore. And that's where I agree with Trey. They don't have the slightest clue. And I think they feed upon each other because some of them actually do want relationships. Some of them do want marriage. But I think they've lost the ability to find out what it is so they could qualify for it. You know what I'm saying?
Just
Some
because
of them think they could box their way to marriage. Just give me enough boxing and I'm going to forget about everything else, including the red flags. And that shit don't work. Not for a man on his purpose. For some of these fools like the basketball players, maybe.
Yeah, but that's because a lot of women listening to these disgruntled older women. They don't want the young women, well, from what I've been seeing, they don't want the young women to have the life that they didn't have. So they're telling them these crazy ass things to do and understanding, and you know, when you're younger, you sort of just, I don't know, it's easy to manipulate. That's why most, if you want to make some money, go to the women. They're the easiest to manipulate to get money out of. But I think, you know, a lot of women just feed these younger women the wrong information. The mothers are even telling them, use what you got to get what you want. Yeah, that sounds good at 20, but at 40, that shit is ridiculous. And I don't think, you know, the men are saying now what they need and what they want from a woman, but they're so busy listening to other women. And, you know, and it's sad right now. And like, that's all I can say is sad. So I feel so.
Trey was saying,
Trey ain't saving. Trey got his he got his plan. And if they not on that plan, hey, I don't blame them. 37.
Yeah.
Hey, it's not my responsibility to save them.
Right.
You know, I have a daughter of my own that I have to worry about. You know what I mean? It's not on me. It's not on me to save them. Here's the thing. If in this day and age, these women scroll. I say this all the time. When you date these women, ask her to show you her screen time. And on that screen time on her phone, it'll tell you how much time she spends on social media.
Yeah.
These women scroll up and down all day, every day. So you mean to tell me that she hasn't learned a thing or two about what type of woman she should be to get the kind of man that she wants? No, they don't care.
Yeah.
And they're in a position now where they think that I'm going to be able, as you said it, I'm going to be able to box my way to getting a good man. And the answer is that we hold the cards. The moment you give us what we want, we have all the leverage. I say that to women all the time. The moment you have sex with me, I control this now. I got exactly what I came for. And now it's my determination. I'm the gatekeeper to a relationship. I get to tell you whether yes or no we're going to be together. And in most cases, the answer is no. And it has nothing to do with the fact that you gave it up quickly. That's not what every relationship I've been in that was actually that lasted for years. We had sex early, quick, fast. So it has nothing to do with, you know, the speed in which we have sex. The timeline has everything to do with. Now I'm getting to see you clearly. Now, you know, your snort when you laugh isn't cute anymore. It's annoying. You know what I mean? Like and women don't understand it. Like it's Trey, tell me I'm lying. It's little stuff like that now all of a sudden, you know, your laugh isn't cute anymore. Now your laugh is annoying.
Yes. And your feet stink. And your breath stink. All that.
Exactly. Now it's not cute. Now your breath stink. Now I'm annoyed by it. You know, it used to be cute when you put your feet on me. Now that I've been smashed, it's annoying. And I want you gone.
Wait, Trey, that's funny. Trey, why do you think that's the case? Like, what do you?
Is it Joseph? Is it Joseph or Joseph?
It's actually both. But just
how do you pronounce
just go by it? It's Joseph.
Okay, all right, okay, that's what it's gonna be. All right, Joseph. All right, man, go ahead. You up, brother? What's up?
No, I just had a question for Trey. He made some interesting points at the last minute, and I just wanted him to if he can pinpoint why he thinks something like her laugh or her feet on you, why that irritates you after sex, like what do you think is the cause of that? What's the switch that takes place that causes you to where it didn't bother you before, now it bothers you more after
More
you
than likely, it's
have sex?
hormones. Let's just be honest. Let's call a spade a spade. More than likely, I just wanted to have sex with her, right? Let's just be honest. I just wanted to have sex with her. And now that I have sex with her, I realize that this is not a woman that I want to be in a relationship with. And so now everything that she's doing is irritating me. Now here's what's going to happen, right? You're going to have the people that
Hmm.
say, well, why would you even have sex with her? Well, I'm a man. That's why.
Yeah.
And I like to have sex with women. That's why. So that's the reason why I had sex with her. Now the question is did I do the proper job in vetting her enough to where maybe after we had sex, something as simple as her feet being put on me doesn't irritate me. You know what I mean, Joseph? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like, did I do a good enough job? And in most cases, I probably didn't because I didn't care because I just wanted to smash. You know what I mean? So that's the reason
Yeah.
why. And I think a lot of the times the men we're just not being honest about it. We're trying to make it seem like, oh, it was something. No, the truth is that I wanted to smash. You gave me what I wanted. Now I don't like you anymore. It is what it is.
I think I have my theory on it.
Well, go ahead, give
Um,
us your theory, brother.
and that's based on what you mentioned earlier, Arpane, at the beginning of the show.
Okay.
Um, I don't know if it's a hot take. I don't know if it's so uncommon now, but what happens, it's that initial desire. Well, we know what happens when certain fluids get built up, and that desire to release, we develop sort of like a rose-colored glasses over our eyes. So the little things that we might have been annoyed by, we become endeared by, we become enamored by, until we release whatever that is that we have within us that drove us to the woman in the first place. And doing that repeatedly causes the degradation of most relationships in the first place. I don't think people even realize it. It's kind of like what what keeps the glue together, so to speak, is the white stuff that we have that makes us driven to the woman in the first place. That also is what attracts the woman to the man as well. If a man holds it for long enough, and I've been doing it for long enough to know, well, that's pretty much the case. It's like a magnet. So I figure what drives me and her to each other is also what keeps us together. Because if the man is leading in the relationship, he's naturally the masculine, the leader, the head of the whole thing. He's running the entire show from beginning to end. If he is the draw for both her and for both himself and the woman in question, um, the moment the man decides to have that explosive event, not necessarily one time, not necessarily two times, but over and over again, he drains himself of that which drew him to the woman and her to him. And so you have that natural sort of schism between the two people. It slowly but surely degrades itself. So then the little things that you liked about her in the beginning, that silly little laugh that she made, maybe she had a little extra finger on her pinky or something like that, or maybe she, had this little gap between her smile. Now those things become, well, maybe you should get braces, or maybe you should get surgery on that thing, or maybe you should, change your hair this color. So now he's looking for reasons to be with the woman in a way that he didn't know what those reasons were initially, which was completely biological. It's just something within us. It is sperm, semen, whatever you want to call it. It's something that once it comes out, that that biological imperative disappears, and so does, in a lot of cases, the relationships. You see the man, he starts to look like a shadow of his former self. You can see the woman in a relationship, she starts to become distant from the man. She doesn't know why she is. She's just confused as to why the passion that he had for her in the beginning was suddenly lost. But they're not necessarily putting two and two together. They're not connecting the dots, because most people, when they're having sex, the first mind is for the man to release himself. Now, it's different from having an orgasm and releasing himself, but a lot of guys, when they do, orgasm, releasing typically follows, or they go hand in hand. But holding back from that, from releasing, it typically keeps the relationship at least together much longer than normal. But not a lot of men practice that habit. So my theory basically is essentially, once the man has fulfilled his biological imperative, or what his body perceives to have been fulfilling that imperative, then he has no more use for the woman. So once you release all that's in you, it's constant. You know, we always, she got to drain my balls, man. She got to drain me. She got to drain me. She's always draining me. So we say it as a euphemism, but it's literally and physically and spiritually and emotionally, and it drains us. Everything that brought us together, that kept us together, is at the same time pulling us apart. And a lot of people don't even realize it. So
Okay, so
that's
let me.
my theory.
Yeah, no. So your theory is not different than mine, except with one exception. Unfortunately, StreamYard is doing us a disservice today, because I had a lady who's going to talk about the biological hormonal reasons why this is going on. And what you said, the first part about a man and his and when he reaches PNC, after that first time, sometimes it's a testosterone thing, because your
Big time.
testosterone
That's
before
it.
you have sex is at the height, and it
Yep.
gets lessened once you release. Okay, and so all these
Mhm.
other things come into your mind. But for a woman, right, there's a hormone in a man. They say it called vasopressin.
That's
Vasopressin is
so
a
pressing.
hormone in a man that takes time for us to build that attachment with the woman. So with my discussion with Trey, right, and it's not equal for every man, by the way. In order for based on what Trey says, in order for a woman to get him to bond to her, she's got a lot of freaking hoops to go through. And that his hoops may be longer and more, I was going to say treacherous, but more, more, she's going to have to show him a lot more before he'll take a leap. And that's fair. But the lady who on the video that we won't see had a hormonal reason for that. So it is not equal for every man. And the things that's required by every man are not going to be equal either. So there's no one size fits all. Some guys will even have their PNC moment, and their desire for the woman might not drop off at all, because they liked her so much that clarity says, shit, I made the right choice. That's also
That's
possible.
true. That's true.
So it's a whole gambit of things. There's no one size fits all.
Let me throw something in there, Payne.
Go ahead.
There's also a certain group of men, I'm probably in here, where sex is not emotional for me. It's purely physical. You are never going to get me to attach to you by making my toes curl. That's never going to happen. And I think what happens is you have a lot of women who think, I'm going to give him the best that he's ever had in his life, and that's going to somehow get him. And you're making a mistake, because guys like me will destroy you for 6 or 7 months and never have any attachment to you at all. That's not how you get the emotional attachment out of me. How you get the emotional attachment out of guys like me who think like me is you get in that foxhole with us and you start fighting with us. And I don't mean against us, I mean with us. You have my back, right? If you come over to my crib and you notice that I don't have something, and you happen to be out one day, and I'm talking about something small, right? Nothing crazy. And you notice that I don't have something that I may need, all right? I had a woman one time, for whatever reason, I didn't have a little stopper drain in my tub. I don't know why I didn't have one. I just didn't have one for whatever reason. And when she came over, she bought a little tub stopper thing, right? And I'm like, that made me look at her like, you're trying to make yourself valuable here. That had nothing to do with sex. But if she would have taken the approach of, I'm going to give him as much sex as he wants, and I'm going to give him the freaky, nasty, whatever kind of sex he wants, we would have been right where we were at from square one. I think a lot of women don't understand that concept, that for some men, like me, sex is simply like taking a piss. I got to get up and go to the bathroom, a little shaky, wash my hands, and I'm moving on to the next thing. It's nothing to me. I don't think of it the way, I'm not going to make love to you and give you sweet love. Yeah, that's not happening with me. That's not happening with me. Some guys, it may happen. I have friends, used to tell them all the time, Trey Ferg, stop making love to these hoes. I used to say it all the time. Stop making love to these hoes. Some guys, that's how they rock. That's not me. That's not me. That's not how I get down. And I think what women have to do is they have to identify those types of guys. You got to identify, is this guy, can I get to him through sex? Or no, that's not going to work. Okay, I'm going to have to do something else, because my emotions are not tied to my penis.
See, but you did say one thing and I agree with you 100%, because like I said, there's no cookie cutter answer to this, even though there's two sides of the story. But you did recognize that the chick bought a stopper. or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
She invested her money, like I
a
said.
little bit, right? Just a little bit. So for some guys, that'll be the beginning, right? For you, it's not not nearly enough. All right, but it all makes sense to me.
It was
And-
enough to
and-
get my attention.
Yeah, exactly. So,
But-
so Joseph, you got something to say? Go ahead, Trey. You want to go first? Go ahead, man. You were quiet for a second.
But our the question I ask is, when you first meet a woman and y'all first start to indulge in the sharing of the cakes, can you make love to her, or you judge by her on your performance? You can't make no love to no woman the first time you get with her. You have to go in there with your boots on and perform your best, whatever that is, because you're looking. She's not gonna really look to move forward with you if you don't go in there and break her neck off the headboard or just throw off the chandelier. You can't come in there trying to groove it and smooth it. No, you better go in there slanging with your, you got to slang from wall to wall, and that's how they gonna judge you. Oh,
Nah, that was facts, right?
I mean, that's the only thing you can do, because she's looking at. Listen, once she makes that call to her girlfriends, and she's like, "Oh, girl, this dude right here talked all that shit, and he showed up short." You might not get another phone call else, but if you go in there and you got her shaking when you get up to go take a leak, and she's still in the bed shaking, and she talking about, "I got to go to work, but you can still stay here until you wake up." Now you can come back and do. Now you can start moving the ball. Other than that, man, you just, hey, you got to put in the work the first time, man.
So, you got some more? You got something else, guys?
That's dope. Yeah, I like their perspectives. Now, me, I don't detach myself from physical intimacy. I've just never been that type of guy. But at the same time, I don't allow myself to be manipulated as a result of it. And though there have been many attempts, some of them which have succeeded, as a result of that, I noticed that guys who initially started off the way that I did were emotional, where the heart is attached to your penis and all that. Because of the bad experiences they had with women, they psychologically and emotionally detached themselves from it, because the past was, I've been hurt from being naturally attracted to a woman or attached to a woman as a result of my heart getting involved with sex. So they have this sort of split in their mind that creates that, in order for them to avoid getting hurt from a woman in the future, from being attached with their emotions to sex, which I am convinced is the most natural way, until enough women prove to us that maybe it's not so natural. Maybe I can't have my heart involved in this at all. So it has to be completely physical. I think the issue with that ultimately is that when a man does come across a woman who loves him genuinely and has her heart involved, because he's been conditioned at that point to not have his heart involved, that causes a lot of tensions in relationships as well. She's in it completely 100%. He wants to be in it, but he doesn't know how to get himself back to that place prior to him having had prior bad or negative experiences with women where he did allow his heart to get involved. So I think you had that factor as well. I just consciously made a choice not to allow that to happen. But I'd be lying if I said it wasn't difficult, because you want to go from, there's a certain way that you are when you're coming up. You have your first love, you have your second love, and it's like, you know what? F this. I'm gonna give them what they want. I'm gonna be that dude. I'm gonna be that bad guy that I don't want to be. And that means detaching myself from the emotional aspect of sex. But the crazy part is that you get results from it. So then it reaffirms your reasoning for detaching yourself in the first place. But that only works until you come across that one woman that you can say, okay, I love this woman. I'm taking care of this woman, but she doesn't necessarily feel your heart in it. You're banging her out, you're having sex with her, there's all love, but where's the love in it? So that can cause a lot of schism too. So I think that's But that's just my perspective on things.
Hey, Payne, let me ask you a question. How long is the average length of a sex session? Average. Take a guess. You're on mute, but take a guess.
You
can look it
asking
up.
me? You
Yeah,
asking
I'm
me?
asking you. How long? If two people get together, how long you think?
This
How
just
long you think that
minutes,
session gonna last?
let
On
me tell you,
average,
that's just maybe 10 minutes at best.
the answer is 5.4. There's no way in the world any man out here should be making any emotional decisions based on a 5-minute session. And I'm just going on the average. Now it could be
I'm with you.
it could be up towards to an hour if you got it like that, or you pop the
Yeah.
pill, or whatever the case may be. But there's no way in the world a man should be making any emotional decisions off of a 5-minute process.
No doubt.
That's ridiculous. That's just my opinion. I would never. And I've always been this way. I've been this way since the first time I ever had sex. The first girl I ever had sex with, I was never with her. We were never in a relationship. I got them cheeks because she had some big old cannons, and I wanted it, and I moved on. That's just not how I've never been that way. I've never connected the two, and I think that's the reason why I'm able to look at women and say, "You gotta go. You gotta get up out of here. Like, you gotta go." I do agree, though. I, like most men, can get caught up in the fogged up glasses and not see a woman for what she really is. And if you don't pay attention, you will get got out here. It happens to men. It happens to the best of them.
So
right?
Trey, let me ask you a question specifically. I don't know about all men, but you think, would you consider yourself the average bear when it comes to women?
With women?
Yeah. Would you consider yourself the average dude when it comes to dealing with women?
Probably not, only in the sense that I probably have a little bit more confidence than most men. So I'm not afraid to go talk to women. I'm not afraid of being rejected.
Not from that standpoint, for their emotional standpoint.
No. I'm turned. Yeah, no, that spigot is turned off. So yeah, I'm probably not the average guy either. Yeah. I don't make moves with my heart at all. Like everything's logical, rational. Like, does it make sense? I'm not a feelings. Like, I don't go off of So in that case, Payne, yeah, you're right. I don't think like the average man would think. I don't think with my feelings.
Well, it's just like when we think it's dysfunctional when a woman is completely emotional. It's impossible for her to be able to function in her own life if she's just completely emotional, which is her natural element. Similarly, it's also unnatural when a man is completely logical. Now, I'm not saying that a man should allow his emotions to get the best of him. That does happen. We are human still. I mean, we're not terribly different from women, although there are some biological differences. We just have a capacity to think things through a little bit better, to reason better, to look at our spatial environment better, and make just a lot of calculations in our head before we make a decision. But we still have the same feelings that a woman does have. So to cut that off completely is just as bad as a woman who is not connected to her logical side, who isn't able to make logical decisions, because we easily can point to a woman who doesn't make smart, logical decisions, and we'll say, well, that's dysfunctional. But it's also dysfunctional when a man is too disconnected from his heart, to where he doesn't allow his natural humanity, his emotional side, to connect either. But I think it's just because it's more obvious to see a woman being chaotic, that, oh, well, she's got issues because she's not thinking straight. She's not logical. She's not even trying to be a little bit logical. But similarly, it's also an issue if a man isn't connected to his heart side, his emotional side, to where he can make that bonding connection.
Can you give me an example of a man who's too logical?
Too logical. Let's say example of a man who's too logical.
Because I've never ever heard this in my life. That a man could be too logical, could be too rational. And when I'm saying that, I'm not saying that I'm not emotional. Of course I'm emotional. I'm a human being. Like, I have emotions like everybody else. But what I have learned how to do is to put my shit in check. And what I realized is that if you out here living a lifestyle where you are having sex with multiple women, the last thing you want to do is be connected emotionally to your penis. That's the last thing you want. If you out here, and I can understand if you're married, sure. If you're married, yeah. Of course, because that's one woman, you're in a monogamous relationship. That makes sense. But if you're out here, you got multiple women, or you are, living your life, you moving how you move, you need to be able to cut them emotions off, because you'll look around and do some nonsense out here. You in love with 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 women out here looking crazy.
Which
Hey,
tells you
Joseph, are you married? No, Joseph, are you married?
Oh no, not at all.
Okay,
Not yet.
Go ahead. Go,
Not even
continue.
close.
Have you ever been
Um,
married?
no, I
And
haven't. I'm
JT, you up
35.
next after he's finished. Go ahead, finish answering Trey. If you
Yeah.
got any more.
Too logical. Who's too logical? Or an example of a man who's too logical.
Well, an example of that. The first thing that come to mind would be yourself, because you said in order for you to in order to be able to sleep around with that many women, you have to cut off your emotion. You can't allow yourself to feel, and you can't allow yourself to even think of the consequences of those decisions. That's the only way you can possibly do it. I saw it in my friend who was very much like myself in the beginning, and he something happened to him. He had a really bad heartbreak, and then he made a country. I saw the transition. He went from he's a lot less happier now than he was then prior to, because you can say he had an idealistic version of things, but he went from one extreme to the other extreme, which is, you know what, I'm just gonna screw every single one. But every time you go, every woman, one after another, he just never. It's like a thirst that's never quenched. And so, but in order to have that, you can't have your heart involved in it. You can't feel nothing.
So what's
for
what's the
can't do it.
consequence?
Well, one of them that is obvious is well, we see what happens in the Black community in terms of unwanted pregnancies, and if the pregnancy is not going to go to full term, abortions. But that's a euphemism for another word. Of what the
You're
reality is.
talking about irresponsibility, Joseph. How many times have you had sex? Hundreds of times, right?
No, not hundreds.
Okay,
No,
but you've had sex more than 25, I would imagine. Now, I'm
a
not talking
little
about
under
women. I'm
25.
talking about actual experience, actual sessions. I'm not saying women. I'm saying actual sessions. You've had sex more than 25 times in your life. You don't have
Probably
25 kids. There's this myth, there's a fallacy that every time you have sex, you're gonna get somebody pregnant. Yes. Is there a possibility that could happen? Sure. But I want people to truly do the math, count it up. How many times have you had sex in your life, and how many kids do you actually have? Just
Well, that's
because
just
you have
one
sex
example.
does not mean you're going to have a child. How
Oh
many
yeah, I
times
know
have you
that.
had
We all
sex,
know
and
that.
how many STDs have you caught? I've had sex hundreds of times. Never caught an STD, and I have one child on purpose. So I don't. That's not equate irresponsibility, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about people who are being irresponsible.
Well, let me stop it for a second, gentlemen. Wait a minute,
Hello?
stop it. Yeah, before JT, I'll let you go right after this. Let me stop for a second because I don't want y'all to go too down a rabbit hole. But Joseph, you said something, and part of it is right, but we
Oh
got
my
to
bad.
get it out of putting that on Trey, because that might not be his experience, even though he might have a hardened heart the way he wants to. But you said something. I almost forgot him. I forgot it, but it was pertinent to a general situation. Not the pregnancy part. You said something before that a guy
Um,
who did your friend who just
oh yeah.
kind of lost it, wasn't happy, wasn't
Oh,
fulfilled.
it's like a split. He became a different guy.
Yeah,
And
so there might be some truth to that, and maybe we'll get back to that. But let JT come up. Hey JT, go ahead, man. Go ahead first.
What's going on, bro?
All right, man. What's happening?
Yeah,
Thanks for coming up.
yeah. Was it a specific question that you were asking the panel,
No, man,
or?
well, since you just got up, you know what the title of this are talking about, PNC, clarity for men, but not from a man's perspective, because I think we all understand what it does for us. But what does it mean for a woman to understand that that's what a man goes to?
Oh, what does it mean for a woman to understand? He
Yeah,
goes
that's the
to.
key. That's what we're up here for. We know what it means to us, but a lot of women misunderstand what that means for a man. That's why they might make a man they like wait for 90 days, and a man they don't even care about bust it out in one day, because they don't care what he thinks afterward. But the guy they like, the guy they want, they'll try to make him
Mm-hmm.
jump through hoops before they give him the box, because they empirically kind of know that for them, the box is the center of everything they have to offer. So if they give it up
Mm.
to the guy they like too early, he might leave them. But they're doing a wrong calculus on why he might stay, because they keep missing the point that it's the other things that make a man stay, not the box itself. Mostly.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think that women actually have a clear, they're even, they can even have a clear understanding of what that even means, right? They just base it off of what was told to them. And from, from being young girls, where somebody will tell you that, you just don't give your box up to any man, even though once they start doing it, they start being more confused and conflicted. So this is where it comes down to the point where they also understand that men do require for a woman to have sex with them. So they would use that, for the man that they actually like. For the man that they really don't like, it goes to, I don't know what panel we was talking about this on, but I think me, you, and Trey was on a panel together, and we were talking about that whole thing with the girls trip, where they would use that to be a hoe. And and when it comes down to them being wholesome, it's kind of like they know how to like switch it on and switch it off when it comes down to stuff like that, because it's not about the man at all. It's about them, what it is that they want. So when we start talking about this whole thing, post-nut clarity and stuff like that, I don't think that women even have a great, they don't even have a small understanding of what that even means. When we talk about them on this panel, they look at us like we crazy as hell. They turn their, they start looking up in the sky. They start beatboxing and sucking their teeth and shit like that. So I don't think they have a understanding. Every age, I don't think none of them have an understanding of it. And the ones that try to act like they do, they would even put themselves in it. They talking about that women can have post-nut clarity and shit like that. So
Oh,
I don't think there's a great understanding. I don't think that they have an understanding of that. I don't even know if they're capable of understanding that part of it.
Well, what they do understand is I am going to be chased from now on until I find my husband and make him wait. So they don't have a deeper like understanding of it. It's just like they just see the after effect. They see the cause and effect of them sleeping with X amount of guys, and then they're getting their stuff off, and then they're leaving them. And so their mind is kind of like, well, okay, logic tells me, I guess maybe I should just make the next guy wait 2-3 months. But they don't realize that that's not it until they give the guy what they want 3 months later, and he runs away too. So they're still kind of missing it. But so they just don't have an understanding of just how we function biologically as men and what we look for beyond the bedroom. And that's
I don't think that's a great narrative of men that we run away. Every time I hear that about us running away, it's not about us running away. It's about us if we actually like that woman. And a lot of these women, they don't even understand. They end up telling on themselves when a man listens to them, and they think that man is not listening to them. And it's not the fact that we got the box and we ran away. No, we actually heard you talking. And it gets to a point where whether we take you serious or not. And a lot of times we won't take them serious because they don't speak serious. So it's not us running away.
Well, wait a minute, JT. I'm not saying you're wrong, but it is also us having the clarity, regardless of what they say, that they didn't offer anything other than just a box. For some guys, it could be because they said something stupid. Now I hear it, and now I got the box. I can leave. In other cases, they may not have said anything stupid, but they're just not the one for you. So it's the clarity that says, I don't see anything other than this woman than just a box. One of the things I want to say before we go forward is this. I think there's truth to the old wives' tale, and this is the one that women tell. And this is just a metaphor for something bigger, because this could even encompass the long laundry list that Trey has. They say that the key to a man's heart is through his stomach, right? There's some reason that the old women understood that there was more that a woman needs to do for a man besides just give him some box. And I think that little saying right there could be narrow or it could be broad. but they're saying that there's a key to a man's heart, which to me means there's a key to make a man who might want to come back and stay by the things that you are willing to do for him before and after y'all have sex. That's how I think you could interpret that, right?
But
Well,
I think it's just a metaphor. I think that's a metaphor for nourishment.
Yeah. So I don't.
I don't think it has anything to do with food at all.
It doesn't. It has nothing to do. It
Go ahead.
has everything to do. It has everything to do with nourishment, contrition. It has everything to do with the value that she sees herself. And I'm telling you, most of these women, when they get to talking, this is when we're actually listening to them. We're actually looking at them. It has nothing to do with the food itself. It has everything to do with what it is that she provides. But what I'm saying also is you're right. After you done bust one off, you ever notice that all your senses kind of like is heightened? The smell.
Yes.
You see better. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like it all comes clear. Right. It's like it's all clear now. Everything is clear now. And so
that's when you notice. You were like, I never noticed that mole up under your chin. I didn't see it before you had all that makeup on, and I'm seeing it now, and it's grossing me the hell out. It's gross.
I didn't know you had a mustache.
Doesn't look good.
You have a mustache?
Right.
Because the other part of this too is typically after you have that sex session or a couple sessions, you actually get to see her in her natural state too. Typically, she's let her guard down, right? She's, makeup's off, and you get to see the full body. And listen, man, I got a homeboy that told me one of the wildest stories I've ever heard. He said that when he had sex with this girl, when she had like this clothing on, where she like stuffed herself in. He said when she took it off, it was like popping a can of Grand's biscuits. It was just like pop, like it was crazy. It was wild, bro. The way he described it, he's like, bro, it was like fat was just falling out of everywhere, but you would never know because it was like some sort of body shaper kind of thing. Like, and he still hit it. He still hit it. He still hit it. And here's the crazy part. Immediately, he was like, when he was done, he went to the bathroom. He said he was sick. He was disgusted with himself. He was disgusted with himself because even in that moment, we still can't see it. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, this is a real thing. And let's be honest, with a lot of these guys, if they're a part of that 33%, if they're a part of that third that's not having any sex at all, they're going to ignore what they feel, those heightened superpowers, what they feel after PNC. Because they're like, man, I ain't getting none. This could be regular. This could be routine. I'm going to ignore all of that. Whereas you take the other 66% are saying, no, I see you, baby. I see you exactly for what you look like, and I'm good. Or because we talk about the negative, we talk about the positive too. There's a positive side to this. Because I've been in some relationships where the PNC is what actually now I see you know what? You dope as fuck.
Yeah.
You cool as hell. Like, I could be around you all day, every day. I want to be around you more. You know what? I want to buy you roses. I want to take you out. I want to do these things now because I'm seeing you in a different light and I like what I'm seeing. So there's a positive to this too.
Absolutely.
So what you're saying? So Trey, what you're saying is we're not really starting listening to them until after.
Facts.
We ain't listening to after.
That's the purpose of this whole stream.
And the thing is, Trey Ferg, is it's not a mean thing. It's just reality for most men. And I'm not saying this is listen, there are some guys that are so in tune with themselves that this is not a factor to them, right? They can make logical decisions, they can make they got it like that. But for majority of us men, we're not seeing you that way. We are not seeing you for real. We're not seeing you in your full, what do they call them, in your full, like your full light, your full everything until after that release. And now we get to look at you and going, you know what? I like you.
You know what it is? Yeah. And here's what I say. We don't see them until we have sex with them in their full submissive position.
Yeah, I agree.
That's their full submissive position. There ain't no other position that we're more submissive than when we're banging one out with them.
Because you're going to see them in a different light, no doubt about it. After you have sex with them, it does change. Shit changes. It's going to change, and it's going to either be for the good or the worse. Now, a lot of women understand it because they've been having sex with a lot of dudes, And so you would get caught up with a woman that will lock you in there. She'll try to keep your ass there. She got armor guard on the goddamn doors and shit. You know what I'm saying? So she already know that after you done hit, you trying to split, and she ain't about to have that. She gonna be like, at least stay until, you know, I make you breakfast and shit like that, because they already know what it is. I'm not gonna see you again. Like, you ever had a woman that sit back after y'all ass that she be like, you gonna call me for real?
Yep,
Don't
she
play
made
with
she
me.
made the best pancakes I ever had.
Yeah, and they be like,
And I
all right,
still didn't go
don't
back.
play with me. Right. So I mean, it goes to what Trey was also saying too. When it comes down to it, sometimes you had that sex with her, you be like, damn, I like her even more now.
Hey, listen, man. You know what?
That's crazy.
Before I gotta say this, man. If I had a woman grab my Johnson right after it was done, and she asked me, did I love her?
Yes. If you, because they're gonna say they already was talking that dumb. They was already talking that dumb shit. It just didn't get to the point where you like, this motherfucker crazy.
That's because they in a different element. But I will say this though, I had a situation with a woman. Y'all know, like Robin Givens off of Boomerang. She was like that. Like, she was looking at me like, you're not getting serious on me. I'm looking at her like, wait a minute. You supposed to be the one I'm supposed to be saying that to you.
She
Like,
left some money on the table.
Man, she left the $200 on the nightstand and rolled out. Man. What is going on right there? I felt dirty. It's holding the covers up. I felt dirty, like, you know.
So our pain. How long you say you've been married again?
36 years.
So just go back to that pre-marriage stage when you said that woman did that.
I mean, this shit's been around forever, man.
Exactly. So there's really no way around it. We can talk all this stuff about how we're gonna do it, but when a man's faced in front of that firing squad, and most guys are opportunists, you know, guys are not, you know, majority of us are not just going around just picking out who we want. Most of us are opportunities. So when we get that opportunity, especially in that group of guys who they say are not getting it on a regular basis, pretty much they ain't gonna care about none of the stuff we talk about. They're gonna get what they want. More than likely, they may go back into their little shell, or they may try to build a relationship. But if she's not the guy that she wants, then she's just gonna, you know, kick him to the curb. Then he's gonna feel some type of way, and he's gonna carry that feeling for at least 10 years. And that's why a lot of guys are like, man, hell with these women. I see what it's like, and most of it comes from a place of where they've been hurt at some point. And you're gonna carry it at least 10 years of your life.
I pity those guys, man. Get the hell out of here. What do you mean carry it for 10 years, man? You pull your pants up and you look for the next one. What the hell are you talking about? But I'm not disagreeing with you, but that's the guys of today. That ain't the guys back in my day, man. Forget that. You know, forget that.
I agree with that.
You ain't got no chance, and you don't got no reason to be hurt that bad for that long. It's crazy, man. Thank God for me. I had my come to Jesus moment when I was 19. Yeah, my frat brother, they broke the hell out of me out of that whole "woe was me" shit, man. And you know, so one good hazing session will change that shit.
Yes, sir.
So, anyway, but I hear
what you're saying. It's fair to say that when you see a wife, you can automatically know she passed the P&C test. You can just look. You automatically know and say, "This is my wife." We've been married for 5, 10, 15, however long. I automatically already know she has more to offer than sex because she passed the P&C test. So after he saw her in her best or her worst state, however you want to look at it, he still was like, nah, she's still dope. And I think for a lot of guys, you take guys like me who, you're looking for somebody serious. I want to see you at your worst, and then I still want to be with you when you're at your worst. But what we get a lot of the times, especially now dating in the modern world, we got a woman who wants to give us the best. I told you I dated a woman, I never saw her real hair. She had a weave in the entire almost 3 years we dated. And I remember the moment when I told her, I was like, I need to see your real hair. Like, enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
And she didn't want to. She didn't want to show me. And she had nice, long, beautiful hair. It didn't make any sense. I was confused.
Huh?
And I had to explain to her, I need to see you like this. I need to see you at what you deemed to be your worst. What I thought she was beautiful, but she thought she was at her worst. I've been posting all day talking about that black women are some of the most insecure people on the planet. And when you really break it down and ask them, you know, what, you know, there's a video going around that's going viral right now where they asked all the women, BBL or natural. And all the
Yeah.
black women are saying BBL. Then they asked all the black men, BBL or natural. And all the black men say natural. So
Yeah.
there's a clear disconnect here. And I think what we're looking at is we got women out here who think that their normal natural self isn't enough. And we got guys out here who are saying it's more than enough. It's more than enough.
Yeah.
And that's what we actually truly want. Give us the opportunity to make that decision. But you keep feeding us falsehoods and all this other nonsense and lies and omissions, you know, about your beauty and stuff, and then get mad when we get the PNC and we looking at you for who you actually are now, because you never showed us that from the beginning. Had you showed us that from the beginning, I would maybe we might not even needed to have sex. I might have been able to tell you straight from jump, hey, this probably not gonna work. But because you fed me the IG model look with the weave and the this and that and that, now I'm okay. I gotta break all this down now. And now I got the PNC, and now I'm looking at you going, nah, this is not gonna work.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
So to what you're
That's
saying, Trey, the problem I have, the disconnect is this. A lot of the women who are attention seekers see that the attention they get is that they hope they can get a baller or actor or people with money. And those guys, when they're in the height of their ignorance, they seem to choose women who look like the BBL and the weaves and all that shit, as opposed to the natural man, the most percentage of us who would not settle, but who would require just a regular woman in her natural state. Those are the guys who aren't the ballers that they're looking for. And so your Zion Williamsons, for example, will pick a porn star because she's got a big chest and BBL over a regular woman to fall in love with. No, a lot of these athletes look like that. I mean, look at this 21-year-old guy, Jason, whatever his name is, going for Drea, even though Drea is fine as hell. She's 39 years old. He's 21, and the rumor is he got her pregnant. So she's looking at 18 more years of big money checks, and he's completely enamored with her because she probably was a poster on his wall when he was 15, and now he could afford it 6 years later. He's buying it. You know what I'm
About
saying?
R. Kelly's ex-wife?
Nah. Orlando,
Drea
remember
Michelle.
Orlando Scandrick played for the Cowboys?
Yeah.
His ex-girl, Drea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Drea.
Okay.
Drea
I got
Michelle,
you. I
she's
got
still
you.
fine as hell, but she's 39.
She look good.
Listen, if she was a man going for a 21-year-old woman, all the hyenas would be all over the internet talking about grooming and all that other bullshit. But she absolutely has put a spell on this young boy, man, even though he's responsible. And all she could see is, well, you know, she had her own money, but his 18 more years of specific of good checks, because he's a star. He's going to be a star. You know, so
Yeah, I think, but I think I don't think that's just like, I think we all subjected to that as young men. If I was a young millionaire, I would have made a whole bunch of fucking bad decisions,
Yeah.
bro. And women would have been right there on the
I'm
top of
with
that
you.
crush.
But we
Yeah.
all of those guys don't do that though. So see, you know, I don't know what the percentages are.
If I'm
But all of those
21,
young guys don't do that. They all don't. I don't even
yeah,
think the
but
majority
if I was 21 and a multimillionaire, and Bernice Burgos was throwing that thing at me,
yeah,
she's going to get it. She's going to get it. And you got to be honest. I think a lot of these guys, they're in a different world. Well, here's a lot of the problem with them is anybody who knows any actual ball players, they have a fallacy where they think that the checks are never going to stop. It's something very interesting with them that I notice when you have, you know, friends who may have played in the league, and I'm not even talking about guys who are well known. I'm talking about guys who had 3-4 year careers and that was it. You know what I mean? They think that their checks are always going to keep coming, and that they're going to be able to have a 15-20 year career like LeBron. They don't realize how rare that is. So I think when you see these guys that are with these women, these older women, they think, I'm good, I'm gonna always be able to keep getting these checks, and then reality will hit in, because Jalen is not the only one. The guy that played for the Boston Celtics is with Bernice, and then there's 2 other younger athletes that are with older women too. That they've been talking about lately. So I think that a lot of it is just mentality, and the other part of this is too, you know, these women ain't slick, man. These guys are targeted. You know, these guys are targeted. Brittany Renner, she let the cat out the bag. They're targeted. They go after these guys on purpose. whether or not I want to say that they're stupid enough to fall for it is irrelevant. But I will say is that the PNC must be amazing for them to want to stay around, because I mean, you know what I mean? Like, Dre, I had to give Dre some credit here. Like, he didn't just kick her to the curb. There's got to be something there, and maybe because she is older, maybe she can offer him something that maybe, you know, women 21, 22, they ain't get, because she ain't ugly. So I don't know, maybe it's something the 21, 22-year-old women that are his age. He like, nah, I'm cool on that. And some guys like that. I work with guys who just like older women. That is what it is.
You ever heard with them girls his age, how they speak, the conversation they have?
Bruh.
Shit. That
Hey,
shit,
what? Hey, JT,
even,
wasn't it you that played the video? The girls didn't know the
yeah, they didn't know shit. They didn't know,
they didn't know
three
nothing.
times three. They didn't know,
3 times 3. So I can
they
imagine
didn't know
if
where
you're
they were.
ball players kind of have to grow up a little bit, right? They have to be responsible. You got to show up to practice on time, right? You got to, you know. So I can imagine him around a 22-year-old who can barely formulate a sentence. He's like, man, I don't want to be around these type of women. And Drea and them, the 22-year-olds ain't no different. Drea want them for the money. The 22-year-olds want them for the money too. So he's like, man, I might as well get something out of it.
I'm not saying it's not a good deal. I'm not saying it's not a good deal, man. But you know what? Because I think some of these guys, they had a ball player talking about that on Unk and Ocho, I think, on some show. And maybe it might have been Gilbert's show. And the guy says, listen, you know what, man? These guys break off a piece of their money for these kind of things anyway. They don't care if they lose 5 or 10% in child support. They get what they want. And they keep moving, because this guy's in for multi-million dollar deals, you know. So
Yeah, but they think the money is not going to end.
no,
They think that, you know,
you're right, JT. But they're not talking about, this guy's not a minimum wage ball player. He's probably going to get like $100 million contract and all that. Child support is probably not going to break him.
child support ain't gonna break him, but that damn restaurant that he just invested in is, because most of the motherfuckers, that's where they lose all their damn money.
That's why I failed within the first 3
money
years.
pits. Yeah, so it's just,
hell,
when
even
you
Anton
talking
Daniels
about,
got out the restaurant business.
That's right.
right. You like, oh hell no.
Yeah, hell no. Yeah.
But when you talking about what it is today, and you talking about the older chicks, and especially if they saying 39 is an older chick, and I guess it is for a 20, 24, 25-year-old.
He's 21 years old, man.
Yeah, but it says a lot about these young women. They trash right now, bro.
That's
a 39-year-old that's competing.
JT, that's exactly the way I took it. I took it the same way. I was like, if a 39-year-old can pull a 21-year-old multimillionaire, that says more about the 20-year-old women than it does anything else.
Yeah, it could be. I'm not saying, I think more than one thing could be true, but I think that he probably had a poster up on a wall when he didn't have no money. And when he got money, he could say, now I could exercise this fantasy. And that's what happened, more likely, because she's been doing it for almost 20 years. So he was a little boy when she was doing her shit. And so now he grew up to a man. He said, now I could afford it. Hey, Drea, check me out.
Well, it's okay. I mean, Travis Kelce said he had a crush on Taylor. It's all right. It's all right for guys that have crushes and go chase.
I didn't say it was anything wrong. Just pointing it out. It's a fair exchange. He got the money. She's got the looks.
I wouldn't say it was fair.
Fantasy. It's a fair exchange. He's a grown man. So, he's getting into this. It's not like he's a boy. He's a grown man.
I wish Zion was,
that the 22 years old don't got nothing for him.
I wish Zion was like my little nephew or somebody, bro, because I would have told him, no, you should have just had the Jimmy on, homie. You shouldn't have left, because she is trying to ruin this nigga's life. And I'm like, why did you do that, nigga? You know what I'm saying?
But he's mama pregnant. I don't know if he married her, but he's got one with her, and he fooled around with this. And it was rumors that she was pregnant, but I don't think so.
I don't know if he's hard-headed or what, or he just ain't got no people in his life, man. What the fuck you trying to get married for, homie? You gonna get done. It's not good out here. The chances of you coming unscathed and you marrying these broads while you out here at the height of your career right now, you gonna get your ass handed to you. It's kind of like jumping out of a damn plane, knowing that you got a 35% or better chance of dying. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody gonna do that.
Let's get back on topic for a second. So it's clear that these guys were making this choice PNC actually don't mean shit to them. Because these women didn't have to do nothing but be pretty, man. They got to the other side of clarity and they still can't see shit.
Well,
you
Yeah,
also got to remember, man, their lifestyles are different. You know, the optics matter, the image matters, right? You know what I mean? A lot of you also, I think Drea, like if you take Drea for instance, she's a model for a top tier company. Like I forgot the name of the company, but
So she
you
got
know,
some
like
fame too.
she has some, she got a little bit of clout. Like there's like a lot of the times you see these guys, and sometimes they are arranged. You know, they had a manager. Their managers put them together. You know what I mean? This would be good for you. We'll never actually truly know unless they come out and tell us. But I think, you know, there is no PNC sometimes for some of these guys. They don't really have a choice. They got to date. They got to date who they got to date because they're trying to build a brand. You got to remember, it's all about, you know, brand building for a lot of these athletes and these entertainers, celebrities, because they all want to be billionaires now. And the only way to do that is you got to build a brand.
Trey, now just based on what you said, would you trust a brand would you trust that guy's brand with the type of women that they choosing? Because it's not like they choosing top tier, they choosing women that pretty much everybody who's regular, like, nah, man, that's a bad deal right there. But they getting with these women. It's not the point of like getting with them, having your fun, but they actually having babies with them. They just going in with no caution. And it's sad.
In Hollywood, there's a saying: there's no such thing as bad PR. They'll take whatever they can get. You got to think about that. Think about all the women who will have the most negative things said about them, and they don't care. Why? Because you're talking about them. They're trending, so they don't care. They're going to find a way to turn that into make that lucrative. So I think that in these particular cases, if we owned a business, Trey, and we sat down and said, "Hey, is this a guy we want to represent our company?" No, we would probably pass on him, right? But there are certain companies out there that are trying to get their foot in the door that will happily endorse him because right now he's a hot topic. Even if it's negative, they don't care. They'll take it because he's a hot topic. Hey, put this shirt on, put this hat on, put these socks on, because TMZ is gonna catch you coming out of the airport, and you're gonna have our shirt. You know what I mean? Even though they're gonna talk to you about you being with a 39-year-old woman, they don't care. So it's just you gotta remember, they playing a different game than the game that we play in life, right? Nobody knows who I am. It's even now weird to me that somebody just stopped me in the Wegmans and go, Trey, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you know who I am? Yeah. It's weird. It's weird. So I can't imagine being known as a basketball player and you're trying to build this brand, and you know people want to throw money at you, and they put this on, throwing millions and millions and millions of dollars at you, and they don't care if it's for good or for bad. Your life may be going upside down. You might be in turmoil. They don't care. We just want, we want the money. I don't know. I haven't heard him say anything about this baby, so I don't know yet. I don't know if he's happy about it, if he's sad about it yet. All we know is that she's potentially pregnant, and we know how Drea get down. We know how they move. So I don't know.
But it's funny that she's an example we're using, whether it's a good or a bad one, because regardless, she still has a reputation where she's not really being trashed as any kind of, other than a fine ass chick who's made it somehow and actually has some of her own stuff.
So you know what? It's the same reason that that one guy who came out of prison, he made it somehow, but people just can't seem to figure out what it is. Some people just got it, and a lot of people just be like, how did they make it? They're dumb as a brick. You got Kim Kardashian. We can say all the things you want to say about her, but she is a billionaire. She's not a dummy. But a lot of people go at her, and it's like, well, she's where she's at because she's dating the Kanye Wests and all these other her whole family is dating rich, successful black men. Why? So we'll look at them and say, well, how are these black men dating the bottom of the barrel? If they were the bottom of the barrel, these black, famous, successful, rich men would not be dating. So it's kind of like
no, but they were already, the Kardashians were already rich before Kim was even 12 years old. So they were already, fairly famous in the Hollywood. We may not have known who they were, but everybody in Hollywood and shit like that, they knew who their father was. Yeah, and then they were connected to OJ, and at some point, OJ was like the hot shit. You know what I'm saying? He was the Hertz man at first, and then he, allegedly murdered his ex-wife and her boyfriend, and then he just ended up being even more. And then and that's how the Kardashians pretty much got on the map. Like everybody knew who the Kardashians were, but shit, that OJ trial, man, that shit really put the Kardashians on, and Kim wasn't nothing but probably about 11 years old at that time. So, you know, only thing she did was she just, you know, she kind of
Banged out.
She
got
made
the,
a
she
tape.
got the,
She made a tape.
yeah.
And the mom pimped it up.
And let's keep it 100. Their mama's the one that's running that program.
Oh, yeah, no
And their
doubt.
mom is the one running that program.
She's the brains behind that whole operation. She knows what she's doing. Remember, she married a lawyer. She's not stupid.
And
She didn't marry
wait,
any lawyer.
and
She married a Kardashian. She ain't stupid.
Right.
And she married one of the strongest fucking, in my opinion, he was one of the strongest motherfucking men in the world. That was the Wheaties man, who's now a goddamn woman.
He was a what? The Catholic?
A tricatholic or some shit like that. And the motherfucker.
The capitalized.
Yeah.
But that cat, man, was like, he was a big deal for a long time. And then however he got rich, he was rich as shit. So however he did it, made his money, he got rich as shit. And Kris Kardashian actually understood what she needed to do. Now that's her best friend and shit. That's her girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? So that's weird. It's just weird when you start talking about that Hollywood shit.
That's what I'm
Weird-ass
saying.
thing.
Like sometimes the Hollywood comparisons they just don't work in real life because they call it Hollyweird for a reason. You know what I mean? They call it Hollywood for a
That's
reason.
good. So let's just bring it back down because I don't know how much longer we have, but I think we hit the kind of stuff that we needed to hit, and we bring it back to the real world. The average man, the average woman, who are looking for a relationship. I guess part of it is that we know what PNC is, the clarity that we get, and the purpose of this stream was to at least offer some explanation to women on how to navigate around that or understand it. And if they want to keep a man, it's not just the length of time you withhold the box. It's more to it than that. What are you willing to do? What are you willing to prove? How are you going to show and prove that you're not just an average box to a guy? And you need to do that, because women don't have enough people telling them you can't just show up and get what you want. You got to do more, especially with guys who are discerning and the guys that you want. So anybody else can go on that. So that's where I want to go with that.
So when you're talking about just normal, right? Again, when you out here in this dating world, you understand how much of a cesspool it is. No matter what age, it's worse. The younger you are, the worse it is now, because they got it changed up big time. Now, like I said myself, I'm out here. I'm not looking for somebody that's actually my age. However, that don't mean that I won't date them, right? If they my age, if they got some form of value more than that, because the box, what a lot of women know, but they keep ignoring, is that they have to have something other than sex. They have to have something other than sex. But it's crazy now how social media has really ruined organic, like the dating pool organically. Like, you literally can go on a lot of these girls' IG or Facebook. I would say IG because Facebook is just not as prevalent as IG. But she gonna tell you everything about her. All you got to do is go down her timeline, look at her pictures. If she got one picture that show her ass, if that ain't what you looking for, homie, keep going. Now, if you trying to get a jump off, then that's what you're looking for right there, right? Or just go on her timeline, see how she posts. 1 minute she cussing motherfuckers out, the next minute she's praising the Lord, right? And then we talking about every. Then you can see how close she is with how many kids she got, because she gonna post her kids. You would never find her with a man on those on most of these posts. Most women don't post their husband unless they are married with a purpose. You can have women that will sit back and tell you that they're happily married. They go on these panels and they will talk all kind of shit on these panels about how good their husband is for them, right? Or their boyfriend, but you never would see them on Facebook. It's a reason why, because they understand how the game runs. It's hard for us now. This dating pool is really, it's tainted. No matter what age bracket you're looking at, it's tainted like a motherfucker now. That's why you would have someone, if you talk to someone, even that's 39, 40 years old, they will give you their IG before they would give you their phone number. There's a reason being. It's not because they don't trust you. No, it's because they want to give you the right IG so you don't see their real page. Because if you see what they're really about, they're gonna take a L, and it goes to that whole thing. Man, it ain't got really a lot to do with post-nut clarity in a lot of these cases anymore. He be like, damn, she banging like a motherfucker. She over close to where I'm at. I'm gonna see what it is, and he gonna bust it. He gonna bust one, and then it's over with them. That's just what it is.
So if a woman was to ask you what specifically, damn, you mentioned it earlier. What specific, like, what are the things outside of the bedroom, the qualities or the things that you would be looking for if she was to ask you that question? Like, what else more can I offer you outside of sex? And what would that look like for you?
That's easy.
First and foremost, I need a woman that's really kind. I need a woman that's really, really kind. I need a woman that actually have a life, right? Let me see what type of life you have. I'm not going to tell her a whole bunch of shit. I'm not going to give her no bullshit like I need a woman that's equally yoked with me and all that dumbass shit. I need you first and foremost. Yeah, it's all dumb shit. At the level we at right now, I need a kind woman. I want a woman that actually has a life, someone that I can have a conversation with. And she ain't got let me tell you something. A woman ain't gonna never have to ask me a whole bunch of questions because I can talk. What I'm doing though is talking to pull some shit out of her. She ain't gotta ask me shit. I guarantee it, because we're gonna be talking to each other. We're gonna have that conversation with each other, and I'm listening for everything that she's telling me. The first minute she talks about her ex-boyfriend, the way that she speaks about her ex-boyfriend, how many fucking kids she talk about, how often is our conversation about her old kids that I don't want to have nothing to do with. It's a whole bunch of shit that she can tell me where I'm like, I ain't fucking with this woman. You talk about your kids in most of our goddamn conversations, it's over with me and you. You sitting there talking about how fucked up your ex-husband is, it's over with me and you. If you talking about money all the goddamn time, it's over with me and you. Or if your ass is just on your fucking phone, if I see you like this all the goddamn time, it's over with us. Now, does that mean that I ain't gonna hit? I may hit. And then I'm out.
Hey, Trey's friends did it. She had jelly rolls.
I like a fupa. I ain't gonna even lie. I'll tell y'all in a minute. I like the fupa.
Let me tell you one thing I know.
I fuck with the fupa, bro.
One thing I know for a fact, two things I know for sure. A little stomach ain't never stopped a man.
It ain't never stopped a man.
Never stopped a man. I talk all that shit about 150, but if it's right, it's right. You know what I'm saying?
You get it?
Look, let me say this, Joseph. I agree with JT 100% about a woman being kind. I think that's something that's missing from women today is they don't know how to be kind. They don't know how to be sweet, right? They don't know how to be generous. But for me, I'm looking for something a little bit deeper in the sense of I want to know what is she willing to sacrifice and does she understand what duty is? Is she dutiful? Is she coming into this thinking that she's going to get free lunch? Or is she coming into this thinking I've got to carry my weight around here? Other than that, I agree with JT 100%. I love sweet women. I love a kind woman. I love a woman who wants to help people. I remember one of my 10 dates is what, RP? Do you remember? Volunteer. Remember I told you I took the girl to go volunteer and she caught an attitude? We were done right then and there. What you mean? You can't give up a couple hours of your day to help out people who are a little bit less fortunate than us? You got to go, sweetheart. You got to go. Something wrong with you. Something wrong with you in your head. Right? And this was some simple work. All we got to do was paint. All we was doing was painting. You mean tell me you can't help paint somebody's house? Come on, man. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. Kind, sweet, but she's also got to be willing to sacrifice, and she also has to understand that there is a duty that comes along with being in a serious relationship. Is she dutiful?
Thanks, Jay. Before we go forward, RBN, man, what say you, bro? Thanks for coming.
My brother.
Hey, I'm over here getting ready for my stream. I had to push it back by half an hour. Yeah, everything going wrong right now with my stream, but whatever's gonna happen at 8 is what
it's 20 hours.
Is what we gonna do. Listen,
I'm a StreamYard.
Huh?
I think it's StreamYard, man. It messed up. I had some things I wanted to show. Go ahead, man. What you got on the top?
Some of my people dropped out, but I wanted to. No, I was listening to you guys while I'm in there cooking. I'm sitting there listening to you guys, and one of the things that I keep coming up in my head every time I hear when we have these conversations is the fact that our ladies don't hear. They don't hear us. They don't listen. I mean, they hear the words that come out of our mouth, but it doesn't resonate with them. They like to tell us how we should feel about a situation and about a subject matter. So that's what I was kind of sitting there thinking about as you guys were talking about this subject. This is that's why I like coming over here, is because of we have that, and I encourage our women to. You don't have to have the same viewpoint, but you have to accept the things that the men are saying are the things that the men actually what we feel. And our women don't necessarily believe we feel the way we feel. I had that problem with my wife all the time. I would tell her why I was doing something, and she would turn around and tell me, well, that's not why you're doing it. What the fuck are you talking about? It's like, what do you mean? The lady I was involved with, same goddamn thing, because men are usually, for the most part, we're pretty clear. We don't really do a whole lot of ulterior motive. Let me do this to see if that. We just we don't really got the energy for the bullshit most of the time. Mm-hmm. So we're doing something a certain way, and we tell you that's why we're doing it. That's why we're doing it. You know what I mean? But our ladies are just they're not receptive to understanding that things are what we say they are when we put stuff out there.
Right. So RBN, let me tell you, on my channel, and I don't really talk about my channel much, even though marriage, politics, and sport, I have a series called Let the Women Tell It. Right. So when I come up with these things, I say it's always better for women to hear it from a woman, even though we continue to say it. But sometimes when women hear it from another woman, it resonates. And one of the videos I had for this particular stream, since StreamYard is acting up, had a woman talking about the subject matter here, from a chemical balance, from the testosterone to the vasopressin that a man has, and why the difference in the sex act is different for both of us. And it would have been nice for women to hear some of that, even for some of the guys, because this is a young white woman saying this. Mm-hmm. And it would have been really good, because I believe she's telling the truth. Because we all know what the PNC means to us. Women need to hear what it means for why guys will ghost them after we get the box. They kind of empirically understand it, but they don't understand why, and they don't give a shit.
Look, they don't understand that. I mean to cut you off. They don't understand that some men, a lot of guys, we really don't know if we like you until after we shot one off. We don't even know we like you until then. That's crazy. That's kind of crazy. You want to get it. You want to get it. That girl that hit all your buttons. You go up in there. You stand up in there like Hercules and shit. And then you shoot it up, and then you look at that motherfucker, and you be like, how come you ain't gone yet? I tell women all the time, most guys don't know. I tell them, I said, listen, I shoot it up, and then I tell you, and I sit there and I be like, yo, you want to get something to eat? That means I like you. That means I want more time with you.
Yo, let me just put the second part to this, and I'll let everybody else chop it up. The second part to this is, and I had it right in my mind about shit, man. It just kind of went out of my mind what I was going to say about okay, well, go ahead, you guys chop it up. I'll come back to it, because it was really good too. Shit.
It's because you old.
Really
boy, you showing that age, boy.
But everybody here can show up.
We gotta get that. We gotta get Trey. We gotta get that boy some ginkgo biloba. You ain't take your Metamucil this morning? What's going on?
Actually, I usually never have those little brain farts, but I'm blaming it on the fact that you guys are so good. Good. I'm blaming it on the fact that you guys are good. But who wants to go next? We're on final.
No, I wanted to say I agree with TJ. I think that men are being very open, honest, transparent about what we're looking for, and we're telling women, and they're just not listening to us. And I agree with TJ on the fact that, because I've been in those same situations that TJ described, that I'm telling you what's going on, and you're telling me what I'm telling you is not right.
It's not right.
What the fuck are you talking about? I'm telling you what's going on, and you're telling me, well, that's and the issue is because you're telling me how you feel, and I'm telling you what it is. We're talking two different ways. You're telling me, well, it should be this way. I don't care what you think it should be. I'm telling you what it is. And you need to listen to me, not hear me. Listen to me, comprehend, internalize it. What I am saying to you, take it in, listen to it. I used to do this thing with my ex all the time. When I would say something and she would get ready to respond, I would go, stop, let it marinate. I would do that to her all the time. Let it marinate. Take a second and listen to what I actually just said to you. Okay, you're right. That kind of makes sense. And yeah, I didn't think about it that way. Yeah, because you were getting ready to object to it. You didn't even think about it. Take a second.
Right.
So TJ hit the nail on the head here. We're telling women. They just don't want to, they ain't listening to what we're saying.
Hey, Trey, let me give you a quick story. Earlier in my marriage, look, my wife, one time I asked her, and we all got those periods sometimes where our money might be a little short this week. So I said we weren't married 2 months. And I should have known. I should have bailed in. So I asked the woman, I said, listen, I need $40. I need to put 20 in the tank, and I need 20 for, meals and stuff for the rest of the week for lunch at work. This motherfucker gonna tell me. I can laugh about it now. This motherfucker gonna look me dead in the face and tell me, I don't take care of no nigga. That's
Oh,
Whoa, damn.
Oh,
my
wow.
fucking what? My fucking what? Yes, we
But
were
you,
married.
but you ain't no nigga. You her husband.
But hold on. No. That was terrible. But I didn't talk to this motherfucker for about a month in the house. You say some shit like that, man. That's a killer, And so when we finally got back around to talking, or it took me a month to cool off. That's what it was, And so she was like, why you been walking around here not saying? I said, listen, I said, you talk to me like I was just some random nigga you met at the goddamn Family Dollar. I said, did you not hear what you said to me? And I said, that's why I didn't talk to you for a month. I said, how was I supposed to sit there and receive that we just married, and that's what you thought of me because I asked your ass for $40 fucking because I cover all the goddamn expenses, and one of the bills was a little high, so I didn't have enough money for myself. I said, you're supposed to do that. She said, that's not the reason why you weren't talking to me. You was just instilling toxic stuff into the relationship. You were trying to bully me into feeling guilty. I was just like, this motherfucker. I'm telling you, I should have ran.
Boy, y'all was off to a rocky start. Good, great.
No, bravado.
It never got
Hey,
better.
JT, that's what we talk about with the woman not wanting to get in that foxhole with you.
Yeah.
She not in there with you.
Now,
Look,
bravado.
And I
The
didn't know.
thing was that you was in an argument that you had no idea that you was in. Before y'all had that conversation, she already had an argument with you, bro. You
About
just didn't realize that it was an argument. It was some shit you have no idea that y'all was arguing about, bro.
Yeah. And I stayed in that. Let me tell you something. And I got married a little. I got married not being coached, because at the time that I got married, man, guys, I didn't even know my father. I had never met him. Wow. I got married at 28. I didn't even know the nigga. So I didn't know that this was a bad situation for me. You know what I mean? I didn't know. And so I didn't meet the man till 2 years into the marriage. But so I just started getting some training and some understanding about, that I'm supposed to be treated a little bit better. I didn't know this. So I was on that because I was in the church, the happy wife, happy life, all that bullshit. Bad information. Guys get bad information too, which will require you to stay in bad situations. I stayed in that. Well, I shouldn't say, because she ended up leaving me 3 times.
Okay.
So that should tell you how stupid I was.
During
that time.
To Dingaling museums. Yes.
Yeah.
and RBN, that's what's changed a lot for these younger guys. They may not have had access to the coaching, but they can go on social media now and listen to guys like RBN and listen to JT and say, hey, don't do this. Like what they didn't necessarily have. I wish I could have gone online when I was in my 20s and listened to some guys, some older guys chop it up and say, hey, this is what you need to be looking for. I didn't have that luxury.
None of this. And I'm going to be, tonight I'm going to be talking about the disobedient woman on my channel tonight. This is the tip of the iceberg about the shit I'm going to disclose tonight, because we out here people don't understand that men are out here having these conversations because they don't understand just how much we've actually been through. And we didn't get to this point. We didn't walk out the womb like this. We had to go through some shit. A lot of people in my generation, a lot of men, to get to the understanding, because a lot of us did not have that guidance along the way on what to look for. And so we stayed places a little bit longer than we should have. We accepted poor treatment. Here's the fucked up thing about, we accepted the poor treatment because we thought that she wasn't happy because there was something we were not doing, that we were failing at.
Before you go further, let's make you the first one on the final thoughts. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, that we were the first, that somehow we were at fault for why she was mistreating us that way. We have a generation that, because we all grew up with our mothers, single mothers, running in and out of relationships. It's always the man's fault. You're being convinced. You're looking at the goddamn movies. So you growing up and you're thinking that if your woman's not happy, it's because you're failing somewhere. It can't be she's just a miserable bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's all I got to say on that.
All right, thanks, brother, for showing up, man. I appreciate that. I know BMU does. Hey, Joseph, you go ahead, man. Final thoughts.
Real Bravado, what time? What time you gonna be online?
8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern.
Oh, okay, I got you. All right.
Yeah, I got a pastor coming. I got a pastor coming on. I'm gonna see if I can make him cuss.
That's not funny.
Go ahead, Joseph. What's up, man? What's your final thoughts?
I think if women really want to just understand how to deal with men who have the PNC situation, I think it's real simple. The way you are in the bedroom is the way you should be outside of the room. So submissive. And you're almost always typically the most feminine in that space, the most vulnerable. So if you're that way outside the bedroom, you can follow his lead in the bedroom, outside the bedroom, you listen to his direction, you go with his flow, his order. It just works. It's outside the bedroom that problems ensue. So just do what you do in the bedroom, outside the bedroom, so there's no disconnect between the two. That's why men will go and run through you, because they're getting what they want, that feminine, that submissiveness. We crave for it, but then something happens after it's all said and done. When you leave the house, now you're demanding. Now you're giving him orders. Now you're trying to tell him what to do. Now you're trying to be bossy. Now you demand. It just doesn't work. But you wasn't doing that in the bedroom, which is what made us want to come to you in the first place. So just follow that, and you'll be good to go.
All right, man. Thanks for coming up, man. I think it's the first time I met you, I believe. And maybe I've seen you before, but I appreciate it. Helped the show out a lot. Thanks.
Sure.
Trey Ferg.
Oh man, it's been a rabbit hole today, man. I mean, just in the whole topic, the post. What's the acronym you give it?
PNC.
Yeah. It's difficult for a young man, because I don't think most young men are focused on really being in a truly committed relationship within the first 2 or 3 times, maybe 10 times that they get with a woman. I don't think we coming into the game, early in our teens, like, yeah, it's gonna be the woman that I'm gonna be with. Especially today, guys are going to look at it a lot different. They see these women a lot different because a lot of these women remind them of their sisters. They see how out there and how wild their sisters are. So they're pretty much understanding the behaviors of women. So they just follow suit. That's why I say, as far as if you're a young man and you looking to have a different outcome in your life from where you started, you just have to really be careful on how you vet a woman. Don't go by so much of what she says. Look at her behaviors, how she moves according to you. Look at her friends, how her friends are behaving, because whatever she show you, it's going to be totally different when she's around her friends. And, just pay attention to the signs, and just be careful, man, because it's chaotic out here, man. Shout out to all the married people. Shout out to all the engaged, because getting back out here, the way I was before I got married, I'm gonna be Tiger Woods. I'm gonna have 10 of them on my roster. I ain't gonna look at none of them serious because I see the games that they play. So just be careful, man. Whatever it is, protect yourself. You know, it's a lot more diseases out here. You don't want to be a baby father. It'll set you back 20, 25 years of your life. And if you want to be in a different stratosphere by the time you're 40, man, just protect yourself. Seek advice when you don't have the answer. Don't be afraid to ask questions, man, when you don't have it. But the next thing, just be careful, man. That's it.
I appreciate that, Trey Ferg. The other thing about the young man, I would say, is that if you ever get into those conversations, you might have to explain to them what that feeling is after they have that clarity. What does that really mean? Because they might not know how to put a definition to it. Every man feels this. Every man reacts to it a little differently depending on the woman they're with. But that's the kind of conversation you can have with a guy about what's that. Hey, damn, what the hell is that? After I bust, man, I feel real. I look at the woman, she looks like an alien to me. Yeah. This is what's going on. You got a clarity moment. Anyway, man, thanks for coming up, brother. I appreciate it. Trey, what's going on, man?
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me. Hey, look, my message is always going to be the same to the young fellas. Okay, PNC is a real thing. This is not a joke. This is not something we play around with. This is a real thing. It will happen to you. And JT hit the nail on the head. You get superpowers afterwards. You get to see everything for what it actually is. You probably actually get X-ray vision. You can actually see. I mean, you get to see through walls after this point because you are clear. You're not built up. You're not stacked up inside anymore, right? But here's the trick to this. When you start to see her for who she really is, you can be honest with her. And I think this is where a lot of guys make mistakes. A lot of guys, the mistake that they make is that they get the PNC and then they start to lie. There's no need to lie to her. Tell her the truth. Tell her the truth. Listen, I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was great. But I don't see you in that type of way as far as the future is concerned, where we're going to go into a serious relationship and or marriage. And we can continue to keep having fun. I don't have no problems with that. But I want to let you know, now that I see you for who you actually are, I know for a fact I'm not going to waste your time and I'm not going to waste mine. So be honest with her. Be honest with her and tell her straight up. And this has nothing to do with her. This is not for her. This is for you. We got to start teaching guys. You got to start to build a callus here. A lot of these guys are scared to build calluses. You don't have a rejection callus, right? You don't have the post-nut clarity callus. You got to start to build these calluses so these things don't hurt you, so you aren't emotional about these decisions that you're making. So be honest. I hit it. She's cool, but you ain't that cool. Or vice versa. I hit it. You know what? Something dope about you. I can't put my finger on it yet. You don't ever want to give a woman everything off the rip. I can't put my finger on it yet, but there's something about you that's dope that I'm digging, and I'm hoping that we can go further with this. Be honest about it, because it'll only help you in the end. That's the message to the young fellas I got for you. Appreciate y'all.
Hey, Trey, man, we can't wait till you get a woman, man. So a woman that you want, man, so we could razz the hell out of your ass, man. I swear.
Why would you ever think I would? I'm not sharing her with y'all at all. She gonna be secret because I already know what y'all gonna do.
Thanks, okay, man.
I'll get a podcast before I get a woman though.
Go ahead, JT, man. What you got?
That's smart, Trey. Don't bring it in front of the fellas because you know how we are. But yeah, man. Yeah, that PNC is definitely real, bro. You get a chance to all your spidey senses just comes and they just activate. And a lot of men, they just ignore them. You know what I'm saying? Because they got a woman. That's what it is. They got somebody that's rocking with them for right now. That's why you will find out that men that actually have like a team of women, they don't really have that whole thing. They just know, who they want to deal with, where she fit at in his life. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people would call these guys players, but it's not. It's just men being fucking men. When you at a certain age in your life, man, and you got those spiders. Hey, look, some of us, I call them superpowers. When you turn my superpowers came when I was 16. You know what I'm saying? And I found out what all women liked about me. And if you listen to what they like about you, if you understand what they like about you, you understand that's your superpowers. Some guys got the gift of gab. Some dudes, they like their smiles. Some dudes, they like their conversation. It's like an all-around thing. And every woman, if you listen to them, they all like the same thing about you. that's what you can tell other people why women like you. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It ain't never been, I like the way he made money. It ain't never been that when a guy's really out here getting women. It ain't never been that. It's always been they like that's where the word swag came from. Because they like the style of that man. They like the way he talk. They like the way that man walk. You ever heard a woman say they like a man that got a slight bow leg with him? They like the way his back is curved. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucker always smelling good. You hear a lot of this stuff. All the women are gonna say the same thing. They all that's where you be like, damn, that's my superpower right there.
Yeah.
So then you have to find out where your weakness is through this. A lot of men's weaknesses is just that they just want that woman in a spot. And what they do is lie. That's what most men's weakness is they're lying. They don't know how to say no. This is where that whole thing with the term ghosting. It didn't come from women ghosting men. It came from men ghosting women. And actually, I think at some point, especially the way times are right now, ghosting is necessary in a lot of situations. You ain't gonna get me to tell you that you ain't shit if you ghost a woman. Fuck that. Some of that sometimes it's necessary. But when it comes down to actually getting through that post-nut clarity, understanding what it is, then you may be able to find that actual woman that you actually can rock with, that you can dig. I don't know nothing about marriage anymore. I'm 51 years old. I'm not even trying to get married anymore. I'm done with that shit. We can be cool with each other, whatever. So my post-nut clarity is a whole different type of thing. I don't give a fuck how good you are. We ain't getting married. We ain't doing it. I'm not doing it. So I end with that, bro. I mean, it's a great conversation to have, man.
Thanks for coming up. And Trey said it best.
For having me.
The clarity could be positive too. That after it, you look at that honey and say, man, I ain't going nowhere. If I can keep her, I am. You know, so with that, fellas, I appreciate everybody coming up. I got one last thing to tell all of you guys while I go. And it comes from a song, because this is not a new phenomenon for women. It comes from a song by the Shirelles, 1960. 1960. And I wish I could play it, but StreamYard messed up tonight, but I'm going to say it. It's a short verse.
You gonna sing it?
No, hell no. I don't want to
sing the song, man.
I'm not
sing the song. Tina, sing the song.
Listen, okay, so it's real short, right? Tonight you're mine completely. You give your love so sweetly. Tonight the light of love is in your eyes. But will you still love me tomorrow? Is this a lasting treasure or just a moment's pleasure? Can I believe the magic in your size? Will you still love me tomorrow? So women were still saying, after I let you I let you give it to you, are you going to still love me tomorrow? This was in the 60s.
Boy, y'all had lyrics back in the day, boy.
Yeah, so I would encourage everybody, especially the women, go back to YouTube and put on the Shirelles, and it was a good record. I didn't want to sully my voice. But those verses is what we were talking about today from a woman's standpoint. If I give you this, is what you're telling me before true afterwards? Will you still love me tomorrow? And with that, everybody, thanks for the chat. Thanks for the brothers coming up. Good night.
Subscribe now.